residents that include David and Victoria Beckham, Tom Brady, and Jeff Bezos, among others. Agents and brokers in Miami said there's been an influx of Californians looking for ultra-luxury properties to snatch up in the area. The purchases come as California legislators have proposed a one-time 5% billionaire tax to scrounge up funds for a healthcare system under the strain of federal funding cuts. You're listening to Crusade Channel News. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com.
So I'm not the only one that thought that Big Brother is watching you. Because Big Brother is watching you. Greetings, it is a free preview Thursday. Mike Church Show here. We are live asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
Alrighty, our call-in line telephone number, if you'd like to be on this talk show, imagine that, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever has been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. And Crusader Stadium chat room open for your commentary at crusadechannel.com/chat. We're doing a free Yubu preview today, so you can watch the entire program from start to finish. But you need to get yourself a Founders Pass membership so you can do that every day. So the web link is in the description right underneath the video on YouTube with the coupon code. Get 1 month for free. But you got to do it today. Don't cost nothing. And as I said, the web link was right there. It's on the YouTube video. Fireworks yesterday, brother, sister. As the SAVE Act gets out of the House of Representatives, I actually think it will probably get out of the Senate, and Trump will sign it, and this will then initiate the lawsuits that I have been telling you about. I mean, just imagine this. I think Tim Burchett summed it up very well yesterday. There is literally nothing that you can do in the modern digital age without a photo ID. I mean, really, go to a bank and try to open an account. What are they going to ask you for? Oh, you have your ID with you? Oh, no, I left it at home. Oh, say, sorry, sir, I can't open this account for you. And they're actually going to look at the ID you hand them. We're going to go like, okay, is this guy? Yeah, it's this guy. Then they'll open you a bank account. As I was joking about last week when we were talking about this, if you go buy if you go buy 2 boxes, you can get away with 1. If you buy 2 boxes of Dayquil or NyQuil, you got to show them a photo ID, and they scan it. Now, why do they do that? Because they think you're going to take it home and cook up some meth. You're going to be, what was the guy's name? Breaking Bad. You're going to go Breaking Bad, and you're going to start your meth lab. So you got to present an ID. You know, an interesting, I thought, point was brought up on the CNN debate show when the hens, the black lady hens and the black guy were yelling at Scott Jennings. He goes, this is outrageous. This is Jim Crow too. This is discrimination. This is going to cause so many people are going to lose their constitutional right to vote. And Scott Jennings keeps going, how? You haven't told me how. And then it came up. One of them actually said, most black people don't know where their birth certificate is. And I'm going like, a birth certificate is a piece of paper. It just says where you were born and who your parents were. It is kind of important, especially in the age of identity theft. Will no one else talk about this? If you don't know where your birth certificate is, you're going to have a pretty, and because you think that it's missing or somebody took it, you're going to have a pretty bad go of things. Because whoever it was that took it is going to use your identification and is going to pretend that they're you, and they are going to open all manner of accounts and stuff up in your name, and they're going to put you hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars in debt until you get notified that, hey, you are spending, hey, did you know you bought a house in Coral Gables, Florida and paid cash, and you got a mortgage for it in your name? You start getting bills, you go like, wait a minute, how do they find me? The ridiculous notion that it's not important for every citizen of any country to not know or to not have possession of the documents that prove that who they are and that they were born, so they can actually claim, if it ever comes up, citizenship is just preposterous. This is a silly, stupid season with a 2 on top of it squared. You know, I keep asking, why wouldn't you want to be able to prove who you are? I mean, the very concept of citizen requires identification. Article 1, Preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of the liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. We, the people. Now, I'm not going to harp on the we, the people part, but what people? What people are you talking about when you say we the people? I mean, this is so stupid and ridiculous as to be stupid and ridiculous. You know, if you go to the, this will be an interesting exercise. Maggie, pull up a text copy of the U.S. Constitution and do a word search and see how many times the word citizen appears. Just the concept of, well, I'm an what are you? I'm an American citizen. Well, how do you know?
This is 11 times.
11 times citizen appears in the U.S. Constitution. What makes a citizen? Well, natural born, jus soli, jus sanguinis, the law of blood, the law of the soil. I don't want to get into a big discussion about it because I don't want to get distracted from the point. Citizens is mentioned 11 times. Well, how do you become a citizen? Well, there are certain qualifications, certain things you do, residency and what have your parents and whatnot. Well, how would you then prove that you are this citizen? You would have documents saying that you were born. The first thing they're going to ask you is, what's your birthday? Well, how do you know? So here's an interesting story. I'll just share with you very quickly, especially for our friends listening on 990 AM WGSO. Do you know that after he died, people started to desire to write biographies of one Louis Armstrong, Satchmo? The guy that ultimately wound up being one of the more popular Armstrong biographers, I can't remember his name, but it is in my Amazing Secret History of Catholic New Orleans series. Dude goes to start looking for Satchmo's place of birth, date of birth, because Louis Armstrong ran around his entire life telling people that he was born on the 4th of July. He's like Ron Kovac in that Tom Cruise movie, Born on the 4th of July. And so the guy doing the biography wanted to see, is there any proof of this? And so he came to New Orleans and he went to several hospitals and he could not find a copy of a birth certificate for Louis Armstrong. Now, the city of New Orleans being the most prolific Catholic city in the United States. And by the way, we got a new archbishop yesterday. The archbishop was formally installed. Archbishop Amen is now officially emeritus or retired, and we have a new archbishop. I'll talk about that later. So the guy kept going, well, how am I going to find out when Louis Armstrong was actually born? So you know what he did? He started going. He found out where his parents lived. So he was like, okay, they lived on this house over, I think it was off of State Street or whatever. And he goes, okay, what are the Catholic churches in the neighborhood? And so he started going to Catholic churches near where his parents lived and asking if he could go through the copies of their baptismal records. And lo and behold, he found Louis Armstrong's baptism certificate, which had his date of birth on it. So this is the importance of an identification in a birth certificate. Louis Armstrong ran around his entire life, didn't know what day he was born on, and he was not born on the 4th of July. He was born on August 10th. So in any event, this SAVE Act is going to deny the Democrat Party millions upon millions of votes. Now, it won't cut them all out, because they're still going to cheat like mad and like crazy and like hell in California. And maybe another state or two. It's going to trigger a lawsuit. Hopefully the SCOTUS settles it before the ballots are printed and before Election Day 2026. But this could very well bring an end to the modern version of the Democrat Party as it currently exists. As I have been saying, the Democrat Party's only real future is in figuring out how you can out MAGA the Republicans. That's the future. It's going to be difficult to sell death and destruction and misery to people as a reason to vote for you, and continued theft and taxation and what have you. So in any event, we have a lot to talk about on the SAVE Act. Just the stupidity. We can't do this because this is going to disenfranchise. It didn't disenfranchise you. Jasmine Crocker, you even managed to find your way into the U.S. House of Representatives. And by the way, before the Democrats could vote no on presenting an ID to vote for an election to elect them, they had to present a photo ID. I love it. Yesterday on the program, I was reading from this story at CNN. This is a little quick reset. This is what we call in the business a reset. Do not try this at home. I am a paid professional. Well, maybe I'll get paid this week. How Google played a key role in recovering the video from Nancy Guthrie's cameras. So I went down this whole process, and I read you and I shared parts of the story with you. And yesterday, on yesterday's program, I asked the question, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure. I think this is like a serious creep factor here. You mean to tell me that, and I said, we went through and I said, I even understand how they do it or why they would do it, but that doesn't mean that you gave them permission to do it. First of all, red flag number one, who invented the brand name Ring camera? Most people are going to go, better turn play with General Electric or IBM or... No, actually it was Amazon. Now, how much of your private life and private information and data do you trust giving to Amazon? That's a good place to start. That's a good question. Well, I have an Amazon Prime account. Okay, and what intel did you have to give them to get the Prime account? You had to give them a ship-to address, an email address so they can notify you, and then you had to pay for it. Well, that's at a minimum. Okay, well, that's not a lot. If you bought a Ring camera from them, how much intel did you have to give? Exact what I just told you. Same thing. I'm curious because I never bought one, and I'm not going to buy one. When you buy a Ring camera from Amazon, maybe somebody out there is listening or watching right now and say, oh, I got one, KingDude. Okay. Was there any kind of a little tick box that you had to tick that acknowledged that when you buy that Ring camera, in the purchase of that Ring camera, you are basically signing away your right to privacy outside of your home and anyone that enters your private property, and giving Amazon basically the right and privilege of surveilling you, because that's what it's doing. It's surveilling you. Every time you go to that front door, it's surveilling you. Every time someone comes to visit you, it's surveilling them. Now people go, this is the greatest thing. Home security is that we are now safe. Actually, there's no study or no evidence to support that home cameras are knocking crime down on homes. Now, maybe there's a general trend, as Trump has been saying, because all crime is down, but I don't think you can attribute it to the Ring camera. So what point am I making here? Did Nancy Guthrie give permission for her home to be surveilled to Amazon and to Google? Because she didn't have a Ring camera. She had a Nest camera, which is the Google version of her. Did she check a little box saying that even though she didn't turn the damn thing on, she gave Google permission to gather video from her president? That's her private property. That doorstep where that wacko maniac was messing with the camera with his gloves and his disguise, that's her property. Doesn't belong to Google. It doesn't belong to the city of Tucson. It's hers. So I think it's a fair question to ask, was there a tick box that Nancy Guthrie or whoever bought the camera for her ticked and acknowledged 24/7 video surveillance of that property, even if you don't buy the subscription, which I imagine if you do, you have to tick the box. So I wasn't the only one that was kind of creeped and weirded out about it. Jordan Boyd at thefederalist.com has a piece out this morning. The doorbell camera surveillance state is not just about finding Fido and Grandma. One of our listeners was in the Crusader Stadium chat room the other day talking about how their Ring camera is the greatest thing that ever happened to finding Fido. If your dog goes missing, you just search the Ring cameras and it'll turn out because he ran across the Widow Ledbetter's lawn. But at Nancy Guthrie's house, if Fido ran across the lawn, or if Buckshot ran across the lawn, did Nancy Guthrie give permission to Google to videotape Buckshot running across her doorstep? And if she did, what did it say? And if there is such a box as I'm describing to you, why on earth would people do this? So Jordan Boyd says no one knows what happened to 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie when she disappeared 11 days ago. No one, that is, except for her front door camera. And even though she did not pay the $10 a month Google Home premium fee, they got the data. You've all seen it. You've all watched the video. Yet 10 days into Guthrie's absence, FBI Director Kash Patel announced the recovery of footage and images of a masked armed guy. You all know the story there. No need for me to refresh that. Patel's admission that doorbell cameras like Guthrie's are always recording comes just a couple of days after Amazon's Ring ran a Super Bowl commercial marketing its AI-powered facial recognition technology as the tool required to be a hero in your neighborhood. I don't want my neighbor to be a hero in my neighborhood. And then it goes on to say, maybe we can next hour we can play, or next segment we can play the commercial. The 30-second spot was designed to pull at the heartstrings of pet owners and good neighbors whose Ring cameras could play a role in finding Fido when he goes missing. To a Ring camera that's not turned on? What the hell is going on here? I can remember doing radio shows about this and TV shows here on YouTube and on the Mike Church Network where people were stunned that certain televisions had cameras in them. Especially the ones that the gamers were using because, if you're going to play Xbox Live, you got to have a camera or you're going to get a camera. They just embed it in the television and then you use the embedded camera. Well, does the camera ever shut off? Apparently, for the television, we discovered that it didn't, and millions of people started putting pieces of duct tape over there. You know what? I have a MacBook in the other room. I still have a piece of duct tape over the camera. So anyway, we will talk about it in greater detail. Spermageddon. Yes, there is a catastrophe that looms because there's not enough sperm out there.
You want your talk radio shaken.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Not stirred.
That's putting it mildly, 007.
Truth never dies on the Crusade channel. King-sized truth from radio-sized speakers.
This is a pixel.
I'm Groot.
If you put a couple of million of these guys together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple of billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 360 billion, and you've got Joseph Pierce's A History of True England. But it doesn't smell like a history of true England, and it burns teeny little holes in your cornea. So, is the pixel really your friend?
I'm Groot.
No, Groot, but the Founders Trading Post is your friend. And we have actual books with actual smelly pages. Plus, our little bookstore has everything you'd expect.
I'm Groot.
Yep, we got Sacred Heart flags, Groot, but no to the One Tree Hill sappy guitar music.
Pick up a copy of Joseph Pierce's True History of England, plus a dozen other Joseph Pierce titles at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hi, folks, it's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Spirit of 76. The Spirit of 76 details the true story of the writing and ratifying of the U.S. Constitution.
And here I would make this inquiry of those worthy characters who composed a part of the late Federal Convention. Sir, give me leave to demand, what right had they to say, we the people? Who authorized them?
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and is packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Spirit of 76 on a 2 DVD or 3 CD set. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
For 9 years now, Brother Andre Marie's Reconquest has been your source for best in Catholic philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pen, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and educational radio.
The way it should be.
Hey, it's Mike Church with another adventure in Stuff You Really Don't Need to Know. The difference between an antidote and an anecdote. One is a cure for something that's poisoned you, like a corona hoax vaccination, and the other is a short accounting of facts, something the aforementioned vaccine has almost none of. Here's another anecdote for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacré-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our Founders Trading Post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag right here in America? Yep. Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off and get a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. Don't cost nothing. Hurry, spring is coming and supplies are limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723.
What's the difference between your average day late dollar short podcast and the Mike Church Show live? About the same as between the new Walker, Texas Homo and Walt Longmire.
She was a bebop baby on a hard day's night. She was hanging on Johnny, he was holding on tight.
Another big story that we're following today is the removal of Carrie Prejean Bowler from the Religious Freedom group or commission or whatever the hell they're calling it that the White House had formed, and that they had their big hoop-de-doo meeting. Now, the big hoop-de-doo meeting that everyone is passing a video around from was not from this week, unless there was a new one, because the one that we saw was from last May. It's when they had their inaugural meeting. And Carrie Prejean Bowler was the Catholic woman who goes like, axing the Zion King dude. What are you saying? I'm a Catholic. I'm not supposed to be a Zionist. I can't be a Zionist. Are you saying that all Catholics are Zionists? And then they go, I'm telling you, as a state of Israel. I don't know any Catholic that has ever questioned whether or not the state of Israel has a right to exist. As a matter of fact, I'm actually tired of hearing about it. I'm sure most of you are as well. And so, you know, the latest and greatest, or latest and worst, is that Carrie Prejean Bowler has been kicked off the commission. I don't know, maybe they were still meeting. It's like this, the council, this commission on religious freedom and liberty. It's like the misnomer that the guy, one of the accounts that's on X is, dude fancies himself Catholics for Catholics. But as I call him, Catholics for some Catholics. This melange sounds the same. You know, all of these attempts for Catholics, and God bless Prejean Bowler for volunteering to be on the commission or accepting the appointment or whatever, but all of these attempts by Catholics to bend over backwards and do this fake ecumenism when there's hardly anyone that's in any, you know, City said, Miniature play, would you like to replace Carrie Prejean Bowler on the commission? I would say, well, I'm pretty much going to say the same thing she said about the Zion question and the Zionism, but I don't join religious ecumenical councils unless you... The only way I would join a religious ecumenical council would be to try and convert everyone else that's on the council to become Catholic. And that really is how you should look at it. No, you want to go and enact all ecumeny and stuff. That is so stupid and gay. What is accomplished by that? No, the Catholic likes my, he likes my Zionism, he likes my Judaism, he likes my Buddhism, he respects me as a Buddhist. I might tolerate you as a Buddhist. I am not going to respect your Buddhism because it's misinformed. In any event, 844-527-8723. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Pass membership service, since we are streaming live everywhere we can today, and a free preview of the Mike Church Show. You want to get this show every weekday, 7 days or 5 days a week. Costs you $5 a month, but today it won't cost you anything. All you got to do is go sign up. The link to sign up and then the coupon code is in the YouTube chat. And it's in the description of the YouTube show today, so you can't miss it. Go and sign up. $5 costs nothing. You're in for a month. And no, you won't be billed. And it's not a trick to get a recurring subscription going that you have to cancel. It's 1 month and done. So take advantage of that today. Just give it a try for 30 days or 1 month. Again, it's in the YouTube chat today at Real King Dude on YouTube. I am watching live pictures because people, well, actually, there's yesterday's pictures of the search for Nancy Guthrie in Tucson, Arizona. So they got drone cameras everywhere. There must be 1,000 drones monitoring everything that's going on in and around her house and anywhere else in Tucson. This is a circus. You're never going to find anything. As a matter of fact, we just watched like 30 seconds of this. And, okay, I am not a professional search and rescue operation dude. I only play one on radio or on TV. But I do know this. If you search in an organized, say in a group of police officers, you search in grids. Okay, what does that mean? That means 50 people line up, hands out, touching fingers or whatever, however many feet apart. Again, I'm not an expert. I don't know all the parameters. But you line up and then you all move forward at the same time in a straight direction. And then you're looking at the ground, and then you get to a certain point or whatever, and then maybe you turn or whatever, but you do it in unison. And and then they mark it off on a map so that you say, okay, we searched that grid. The only way you can do a grid search is to act all grid-like, EE and stuff. These people that are searching out there, I mean, I saw this one woman. It looked like she was doing a Where's Waldo puzzle. She went this way, and then she went that way, and then she went this way, and then she went that way, and she went all the way around and came back this way. And the entire time, she's got not one, but two people with video cameras following her.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
This is a media circus. They don't care about Nancy Guthrie. Again, the whole thing, the entirety of our world is driven by clicks and likes. Not community, not relationships, not humanity, dopamine. So in any event, I as long as it's been now, and I'm like shocked after 2 days, they've had this dude's ring cam, stolen pictures out there, and no one has ID'd this dude. Look, if I did it, people that know me would go like, well, he's about Mike's height, kind of the same build, kind of walks kind of funky and stupid like he does. Someone would recognize some pattern about me and would have outed me, but apparently that has not happened yet. I mentioned this at the close of the last segment. So an article by August Mayrat at thefederalist.com from 2 days ago, how testosterone determines the fate of civilization. That's interesting. He basically reviews a book called The Last Men, Liberalism and the Death of Masculinity by Dr. Charles Cornish Dale. Dude that goes by the moniker the Raw Egg Nationalist. Elon has been talking about this. I have been talking about this for the better part of the last decade. Many others. RFK Jr. has been talking about it. If Dr. Charles Cornish Dale is correct, and we have no reason to believe that he and many others are not, and that we actually are in a spermageddon event here, it would behoove us to figure out and to find out how we got into it. You can't say that 6,000 years of prior recorded history saw the human race go from Adam and Eve and then winnowed back down to Noah, his wife, 3 sons and 3 wives, and then to billions of people. There's one ingredient that you would have had to do that. It's called testosterone. And the testosterone helps to make this stuff called sperm. What do you need that for? Well, yeah, what do you need that for? Well, you're going to need that to make these things called babies. Sperm meets an egg, goes, hi, egg. Hey, you look like you need to be fertilized. That's me. You can't expect a future of human flourishing without replacement rate fertile women. 2.1 babies per fertile woman is the current estimated replacement rate for any civilization or any society or any country. What if the women remain fertile, but the dudes are all sterile and impotent? And what if they become sterile and impotent because of microplastics and other chemicals and substances that are in the water? And maybe it's in the water supply to a point now where it can't be filtered out by conventional methods. And I think that's one of the points of Dr. Cornish Dale's book, is that this is like environmental now. And if you don't find out what's causing it and bring it to an end, you're going to have, the human race is going to have a very large problem on its hands. So I want to get into it and talk about that. In digital media files here today, there's a big hoop-de-doo hearing about Epstein yesterday, with Pam Bondi appearing at a committee hearing. It was kind of strange because there were senators and congressmen there, so it wasn't just like a House Oversight Committee or whatever. In any event, everyone is talking about the Thomas Massie versus Pam Bondi clip, and about that, how Massie wound up basically interrogating her, and then implying that she had something to do with a cover-up. Now, I don't view it that way. I think that Pam Bondi is just incompetent. I don't think she's sinister or that she's in on it. I just think she's incompetent. And she's in way over her head. And look, how would you have any experience in dealing with something as big as the Epstein file release? Nobody has that kind. I don't think Trump has that kind of experience. Now, what would prepare you to do something like that? You'd have to have some serious discussions about the ethics of what you were about to do. So in any event, if you listen to the exchange, the Thrilla on Manila, not like the Thrilla in Manila, the Thrilla on Manila, as in Manila paper, the Thrilla on Manila. She tells Massie, she says, look, it took me 40 minutes. We realized we made a mistake and we corrected it. And of course, he yells at her and goes like, yeah, because I caught you red-handed. And again, I don't know that she's smart enough to be in on the fix. Now, could she be manipulated and be cajoled or influenced by someone to go, hey, you're going to need to redact that? That's my point, is that, well, that's more incompetence than it is, I think, collusion or sinister behavior or what have you. But at the end of the day, though, there shouldn't be anything that's redacted. And no one understands it. I don't understand why there are redactions. Trump doesn't have anything to worry about. He knows his name's not in there. The only person that's near him whose name is there is Howard, what's his name? Lutnick. Howard Lutnick apparently made a pair of trips to Pedo Island or Epstein Island. Now, he says that after he found out what they were doing there, that he stopped going. I don't know about that. Well, after you found out what they were doing there, why didn't you tell someone? So there's no taint that you can get off if you have any connection to this Epstein guy. Which brings me to another profound point here on the Mike Church Show. Do you know what? All right. What did Trump used to call Congressman Jerry Nadler in New York? Fat Jerry. Before he was president or dreamed or decided to run for president, he was a New York businessman, real estate dude, casino owner, developer, whatever. You'd have dealings, and he even said, look, I gave money to Democrats and Republicans. I gave to all of them. I had to, look, I was in business. It was smart business for me to do that. And that's I gave to Fat Jerry. We called him Fat Jerry Nadler. Well, do you know what his nickname was for Steve Bannon? Oh, this is hysterical. Sloppy Steve. There's a tweet that Roger Stone dug up. You know, I laugh at this because, as I told the incompetent Ian Miles Chong, who is a bought and paid for a voice for, he's not pursuing the truth, because if he was, he'd suck it up and he'd send me an email or go through Jordan Bloom or somebody that he knows that knows me and say, hey, can I get an interview with Mike Church? because I can tell you things about Bannon and what Bannon did to me at SiriusXM and what was going on there at the time. Nobody else knows. Nobody else lived that. I did. In any event, they're not interested in that part of the story, though, and none of us understand why. Michael Wolff is a total loser. This is from June the 6th, 2018. Or January 6th, 2018. Michael Wolff is a total loser who made up stories in order to sell this really boring and untruthful book. He used Sloppy Steve Bannon. Sloppy Steve Bannon, who cried when he got fired and begged for his job. Now Sloppy Steve has been dumped like a dog by almost everyone. Too bad! And that was on Trump's Twitter account back in January 2018, which is, and Roger Stone says, seems like Elon Musk and real Donald Trump both had it right. As the mask comes off, the supposed kingmaker, and the leader of all MAGA, of all of MAGAdom, Steve Bannon. But you know who ran? She did a Bee Gees song. She did a "Run to Me Whenever You're Alone." Marjorie Taylor, I'm quitting so I can get my retirement green. Randa Bannon. Fitting company, I think. Just showing some other headlines here on our free preview today. Canada's school shooter is latest in epidemic of trans violence. Told you. Another deranged tranny mammy is now murdered, and this time 9 innocents. A mentally ill man cosplaying as a woman reportedly shot and killed 6 people at a school in British Columbia after murdering his mother and stepbrother, marking yet another instance of transgender violence. 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar killed his mother and stepbrother on Tuesday before heading to a local school and fatally shooting 8 individuals, so there was 10, and killing himself, that's 11. Before turning the gun on himself, according to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Van Rootselaar also wounded more than 24 in the attack. Rootselaar was born male, but identifying as a female 6 years ago, according to the New York Compost. Now, the demons are ascendant. They come for the children. They won't take no for an answer. We have, since 2016, we have been talking about this, calling out what it is, tranny mammies. These men, these boys are turned into these little monsters by Munchausen by proxy syndrome females, primarily. Every once in a while, there's the dude that goes along with it, but primarily it's the mother. Practicing Munchausen by proxy because she wants to be loved and approved and accepted on social media. And so she uses the transition of her child for sympathy. And she's a heroine. She's boldly going where no mothers didn't previously go before with their sons. Yeah, mothers didn't previously conspire to have their sons' testicles removed. Yay, moms previously. Mothers previously didn't conspire to have their daughters' breasts removed. Yay, moms previously. And now you have another deranged lunatic. And by the way, there's no gun culture outside of hunting in Canada. You can't blame this one. This is because of the Second Amendment and the American obsession with gun culture. You can't blame this one on gun culture. But you can blame it on mental illness. And now the Canadians have to deal with the fact that, look, all dude's got to do is drive across that border and go find himself someone that will, on the street or go to a gun show or whatever, that will sell him a weapon. Or it's going to any hood anywhere in the United States and you got enough cash, you can get a weapon. An Instagram account purportedly belonging to his mother, Jennifer, appears to show she was a trans activist. Always. They're always trans activists. Look at the deranged sickos from Hollywood, Pink and Charlize Theron, and Penn Jillette and these others that have all turned into child sterilizing and mutilating monsters. All of them. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this is never going to come to an end unless we start calling it what it is. You have to call these people what they are. And then you also have to confront dead-on and head-on mental illness. You're not willing to confront mental illness and the sexual dysphoria that goes along with some of these mental illnesses, and that is a mental illness. If you're not willing to confront that, well, then you just get ready. Get ready for your day to get a phone call that your child or your mother or your brother or your sister or your Aunt Petunia or whoever was shot dead by a deranged tranny. Someplace in public, or maybe at a school. By the way, why do they always go to schools? It seems. Well, this lets you know that the demons are working overtime with them. It is to remove anyone else that may not have been sterilized. It is to remove fertile people from the earth. Why would you want to do that? Because the demons and Satan don't like humans. We're the reason that Lucifer said, non serviam, I will not serve. You're going to do what with those pathetic, puny creatures called humans? I'm out, I'm done. Of course, there was a war in heaven. St. Michael and the other archangels won and kicked the demons out. And the demons have been conspiring against us and God ever since. But since we are God's, because God loves us, and so they hate us. And so, of course, demons and demonic activity are behind sterilizations, voluntary sterilizations. Of course, they're behind abortions and contraceptions and outright murder of children. Just last year, Ryan Michael English allegedly tried to assassinate Scott Bessent and burned down a Heritage Foundation as part of the story here, claiming he was inspired by Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione is the nutbag that whacked the United Healthcare CEO as he was peacefully minding his own business walking down the street. The thing that they all have in common, or most of them, outside of Audrey Elizabeth Hale, is that they're boys pretending to be girls. She was a girl pretending to be a boy. Folks, our free preview continues. You should join during the break.
Along the city streets you used to walk along with me, and every step I take reminds me of just how we used to be. Well, how can I forget you, girl? And there is always something there to remind me. Always something there to remind me. Shadows fall, I pass a small cafe where we dance at night. And I can't help recalling how it felt to kiss, hold you tight. Oh, how can I forget you, girl? When there is always something there to remind me. Always something there to remind me.
Madisonville, Louisiana, and streaming 24/7 at CrusadeChannel.com. You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via CrusadeChannel.com.
Silver and gold.
In these turbulent times, buying silver and gold is such a no-brainer that even snowmen know they should do it. Now, all precious metal dealers claim to be the best, but only one can claim they are endorsed by the KingDude, and that's Miles Franklin. My friend Andy Scheckman's a regular guest on my show and a regular genius when it comes to silver and gold, and I trust him with my silver and gold purchases, and so should you. So email Miles Franklin today for your exclusive Mike Church Show discount price list. info@milesfranklin.com. Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
I know there is still a chance for peace and reconciliation. I know it, despite what has happened here today. I trust there are many in this room who have not been consumed with the fevers of war. The fevers of Mr. Adams' war.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD. And by calling 844-527-8723.
Do you know what the Maha and MAGA movements both have in common?
I give up. A pair of A's?
That's about as right as Pink and Charlize Theron are on child rearing. No. The Captain of Kings, the KingDude himself, did radio shows about them both before they were used to sell clicks for grifters. What the heck do Laura Loomer and AC/DC Drano want now?
There's nothing like it on Radio Free Farm Friday. New episodes drop on Friday mornings. Mike Church Show at 9 East, and catch over 100 episodes as podcasts on our app and on CrusadeChannel.com.
I need something to listen to challenge my faith and tickle my not-so-nice funny bone.
Well, you won't hear anything about Mondays coming or cheeseburgers in paradise, but you will hear the most brutally honest Catholic-inspired commentary on Parrot Talk. Weekdays.
Oh, this Boats, Beaches, Bars, and Ballads fan sees what you did there.
Weekdays at 2 Central on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Attention Coffee Police Academy students. We will now call the roll. CPA candidate Jones.
Present.
Joe Arabica Friday.
Present.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm here, sir. I just can't seem to keep my eyes open since I started drinking this Barrett Bargain Basement Stale Bean Water.
And just why are you violating CPA coffee code SBW1AM?
Well, that's easy. So I can save up money to get into the Coffee Cop Academy.
Son, breaking CPA rules so you can get into CPA is no way to become a coffee cop. Now, I am afraid we're going to have to...
Uh-oh. Sounds like Lou has found the academy. And he's on his second cup of Abbey Roast.
What does he want?
He wants to know why the CPA didn't recognize his Rougarou nouns.
Rougarou nouns? And I'm the one that rejected his application.
Will Lou the Rougarou have his revenge and grind the coffee cop into espresso? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast coffee at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hey, it's Mike Church with another adventure in Stuff You Really Don't Need to Know. The difference between an antidote and an anecdote. One is a cure for something that's poisoned you, like a corona hoax vaccination, and the other is a short accounting of facts, something the aforementioned vaccine has almost none of. Here's another anecdote for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacré-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our Founders Trading Post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag right here in America? Yep. Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off and get a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. Don't cost nothing. Hurry, spring is coming and supplies are limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723.
The Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Hey, Mick, yesterday's show wasn't enough. It's time to crack open another can of Mike Church Show whooping.
This guy just don't want to win, you know. He wants to bury you, he wants to humiliate you. He wants to prove to the whole world that it was nothing but some kind of a freak the first time out.
Hey, freaks don't hear the rocky music before they leave satellite radio.
How about a Fresca?
The Mike Church Show, weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. King-sized truth from radio-sized speakers.
Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians. Everybody complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck. Yeah! Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens. This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. And term limits ain't going to do you any good. You're just going to wind up with a brand new bunch of selfish, ignorant Americans. So maybe it's not the politicians who suck. Maybe something else sucks around here. Like the public. Yeah, the public sucks. There's a nice campaign slogan for somebody. The public sucks. Have hope. Have hope. Because if it's really just the fault of these politicians, then where are all the other bright people of conscience? Where are all the bright, honest, intelligent Americans ready to step in and save the nation and lead the way? We don't have people like that in this country. Everybody's at the mall, scratching his ass, picking his nose, taking his credit card out of his fanny pack and buying a pair of sneakers with lights in them.
Watching me.
Well, here's a short list of who's watching you. Bezos, Amazon, Google, FBI, NSA, you know, usual suspects. The Oracle of Optimism, the Tootie Llama here, the Dauphin of Due Diligence. It's Mike Church here with you on a Thursday. J. Arthur Bloom with us next hour. I'm really pumped up to talk to J. Arthur today, Arthuriana on Substack. Lots of great stuff he's been writing about, including a review of a book about Harry Houdini. Some stuff that I never knew about Houdini. This portion of the program brought to you by the Crusade Radio Guild, our nonprofit where we seek to, that's why this is the Ethics in Broadcasting Network, where we seek to defend and promote and then teach ethical broadcasting skills and standards to this generation and to the next generation of great broadcasters, not podcasters. Although if you're a podcaster and you wanted to join, you could. Consider making a donation to our nonprofit, 501c3 today, and making sure that we survive the month of February because funds are low and we really need all of your help. You can start with $5 at crusadechannel.com/donate. That's crusadechannel.com/donate. And today also, one of our donors, J-Boy, last week donated 24, 2 to the 4, 1-month listening memberships. No strings attached. You're no credit card. You're not signing up for anything. You're not going to get rebilled, but you will be able to listen on the members only stream for 1 month. But you got to sign up today. The sign up is in the YouTube chat today. We are free on YouTube all day. YouTube.com/@RealKingDude if you're listening out there somewhere. And the link to click and then the coupon code that gets it to you for free are in the YouTube chat. So do that or make a donation. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. Your doorbell camera is watching you. You know, I'm going to do this, but I want Maggie to play because there's something contained in Brandon Gill's remarks yesterday. Number 8. Digital media file number 8. This is from yesterday's hearing on Capitol Hill. You know, if I wanted to just do clicks and likes. Major breaking! You got to listen or watch all the way to the end. Something amazing happens. Watch.
I've got a series of questions for you that we can get through pretty quickly, I think. Can you tell me, is it true that the Biden-Harris DOJ raided President Trump's home?
They did.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ allow Jack Smith to spy on over a dozen Republican members of Congress?
Absolutely.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ seize the phone of a sitting Republican congressman?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ and Jack Smith pay at least $20,000 to confidential human sources to provide information on President Trump?
At least.
At least. Did the Biden-Harris DOJ and FBI fail to apprehend the suspect who placed pipe bombs near the Capitol ahead of January 6th?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ target parents as domestic terrorists?
Absolutely.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ target pro-life Catholics, going so far as to interview a priest and a choir director?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ send FBI SWAT teams to arrest pro-life advocates with no criminal histories?
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ use the FACE Act to target pro-life advocates while it allowed anti-life agitators to vandalize, destroy, and firebomb pregnancy resource centers and churches?
Multiple times, I believe.
Multiple times. Did the Biden-Harris DOJ ever determine who leaked the Dobbs decision?
I can't discuss that. No, under Biden. No, under Biden-Harris.
Got it.
No.
Whoa!
Did the Biden-Harris...
They know who did it. Who done it? Well, he done it over there. I'm going to tell you, Ketanji Brown Jackson did it in the SCOTUS kitchen with a walkie-talkie. I know who leaked it. Jackson did it. The only logical answer to how the Dobbs decision got out is that, and the timing is also so suspect, it is timed nearly perfectly with the arrival of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson at the SCOTUS building. Either she did it or one of the scallywag DEI appointees that she dragged along with her did it. Did you catch did you catch that? She go, did Biden-Harris? Because he asked, did Biden-Harris ever find out who leaked the Dobbs decision? And she goes, and she, of course, she pauses for 10 seconds and goes, oh no, did Biden-Harris know? They know, because in other words, if you were watching that video, she knows who did it. Here's my question. Why won't that come out? That person should be prosecuted. That's a serious felony. That could change the entire outcome of future SCOTUS decisions. You better tell us who it was. That was, my friends, no, I'm watching this going like, she probably wasn't expecting to get that question, but she got that question. Or she wasn't expecting it that it was going to go in that direction, but that's where it went. they know who leaked Dobbs. And then that leads to so many more questions. Well, if you know, are they still there? If you know who did it, are they still there? And folks, you know, we act as though this is a great mystery. No, it's not. Each Supreme Court justice has, I can't remember, 3, 4, however many clerks. You know, you get the clerk for a SCOTUS justice. It's a pretty big gig, and probably lead to other pretty big gigs down the road. Like, for example, Brett Kavanaugh, clerked for Chief Justice William Rehnquist for years. In any event, it's a very small, tight-knit community, as I understand it. I've heard Justice Thomas talk about it. I heard before he died, I heard Justice Scalia talk about it. I've heard John Roberts talk about it. Chief Justice Roberts, I've heard others talk about that. You know, they go to work in the morning. It's pretty much the same people that are there every day. Justice Thomas has his peeps. Justice Brown, Ketanji Brown Jackson has hers. Sotomayor's has hers. Softball lesbian Kalena Kagan has hers, et cetera, et cetera. They're not hiring temps at work as clerks at the SCOTUS. So let's just say, for poops and giggles, that there are 4 clerks for each justice. And then there is a team. You got 1 or 2 people that runs the SCOTUS blog. You have some stenographers. You have some broaderly sanctioned clerics or clerks that do the writing of the decisions and what have you, and then the publishing of them. You could probably say that all told, people that would have access to a document, like a draft document, a draft version of a SCOTUS decision, is probably less than 40 people. If you rule the 9 out, now you've got 30. Why would it be in the interest of anyone that was in the affirmative? So then you can narrow that down. Now you're down, if it's just the 4 no votes or the 3 no votes, now you're down to 12. This is not hard to figure out. They could absolutely know who did this. And in any event, I think it's one of the greatest crimes of the century that wasn't solved. And that it's one, because if you solve it and then you prosecute, you're going to kneecap a lot of future leakers who would leak something like, or anything like that. All right. Let's talk about these Ring cameras for a moment. Your doorbell camera is watching you, which is why I played Rockwell at the top of the segment. Somebody's watching. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Patel's admission that doorbell cameras, this is Jordan Boyd at the Federalist. Kash Patel's admission that doorbell cameras like Guthrie's are always recording comes just a couple of days after Amazon's Ring ran a Super Bowl commercial. Can we run the video from...
This is Milo.
Well, I got an affirmative on, yes, we can run it. Let's rack it back up in the... As they're saying on Fox News, can we rack that back up in the control room? I'm here, green screen there, control room right there.
This is Milo. Pets are family. But every year, 10 million go missing. And the way we look for them hasn't changed in years. Until now. One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs. Since launch, more than a dog a day has been reunited with their family. Be a hero in your neighborhood with Search Party. Available to everyone for free right now. Join the neighborhood at ring.com.
Talk about a surveillance state coup. What if I don't want you using my Ring camera to find Fido or Rin Tin Tin? Or Buckshot. Ladies and gentlemen, that's an ad for Big Brother and their surveillance state.
And you're going along with it.
And all of you are going along with it? as we have been saying since the NDAA, if you see something, say something. What do you have to fear if you didn't commit an act of terrorism? Loss of privacy. And with a loss of privacy, in this instance, a loss of innocence. No one's innocent of anything anymore. What, you got ring cameras in the neighborhood where you think the barbecue thief stole the grill brush? Well, yeah, we're going to put a posse of ring cameras together. We're going to find out who stole my grill brush. Yeah. We had a neighbor. This is an inside joke here now at the church household. We had a neighbor. She was the first one to install surveillance cameras outside her house. In this development here, which is beyond me. In any event, she installed surveillance cameras at her house. And then one day, we got a Facebook thread message where she basically put out an all-points bulletin for the capture and arrest of whoever it was that was driving, and she described the car. She posted the video and then described the car, who in her words said, took the corner on two wheels. So they came around the corner because she's not actually the corner house. She's the one after the corner house. She posted a video saying this guy took the corner near her house so fast, or woman, that they took it on two wheels. It was a stunt car, and then it barely made it by, and it was it flashed so fast. She couldn't get a still image of the license plate number. But we're going to bring this person to justice. So she actually posted the video. And I was the only one that went, does anyone else have a problem with a member of this community posting surveillance videos of us? I did not move into this neighborhood so I could be surveilled by you, fat ass. What about my privacy? So you're surveilling me while I'm just making the turn around the same corner, which when I leave out of here today to go drop your Dude Gear orders off at the post office, I'm going to roll right past you. But that didn't stop her. She installed two cameras, one on either corner of the house, and now she's got two cameras and a ring camera. So now we have a surveillance state on the opposite street. I'm sure we're not alone, and I'm sure many other people do. This is the American public out there now thinking it's cool and it's chic. And we're with the good people because we participate in the fine Fido ring camera network. No, you're with the useful idiots that make a surveillance state possible. Where do they get a social media score system going? Heaven forfend that should ever happen. You know what they're going to use to enforce it? Things like ring cameras. Jordan Boyd, who along with me was the only person that spotted this. What the saga about a neighborhood-wide search for a lost puppy ultimately revealed, however, is that the millions of ring cameras are already equipped with free facial recognition software that can be harnessed for mass surveillance the moment someone requests it. Imagine now, you're just living in your neighborhood, dude. You say you go out for a daily walk, and that's all you do, which I used to do every day. I work out now, but I used to go for a rosary walk every single day. Imagine now some godforsaken event happens in this neighborhood, and they're looking for perps, and people start turning ring camera footage over, and all of a sudden, because I cross ring cameras every day, and I got something in my hand, I am a suspect. And now there'll be a manhunt on for the guy who walks through the neighborhood with the metal and ceramic rope in his hand. It's not a metal and ceramic rope; it's a rosary. That's where we are. So, when someone said, "Are you gonna get a ring camera for your home?" No, not no, but hell no. And if you come near me and try and sell me one, I'm gonna beat your behind. Get off my property. It's your image down in Google, all the more reason to be suspicious. What the hell sends video from their own home to Google? Oh, they're so trustworthy, Mike. I must have missed that one. And now they have AI facial recognition software. What do you think they're doing with that? Nothing good. The only way, and Jordan Boyd says the only way to opt out of the search party function is to manually disable it. It's to manually disable it in the doorbell camera's control center, which sparked outrage and even spoofs from rival camera companies. It doesn't take a technology expert to understand that refusing to pay for the cloud storage doesn't mean doorbell cameras aren't watching or collecting your data. In fact, these widgets' vast recording capabilities and big tech ownership have raised eyebrows before, as they should. Yet millions of Americans continue to buy into the pitch that placing a device that records video and audio to a cloud controlled by notorious censors is adequate home security. That's another great point. You know who canceled me during COVID? Google. ABC, the owner of Yubu. Why did they cancel me? Because I told the truth on this channel. YouTube.com @RealKingDude. You know, some of you are going like, this show is pretty good. There's free previews. Good. Why doesn't this guy have 250,000 followers? Because I am blacklisted and censored. And our account was basically disabled during the Corona hoax. So we just canceled it. And then we decided, okay, well, we'll go back on for business purposes. And we're still building it back up to where it was. You should subscribe to the channel today if you're getting a free preview. And our service. We don't do any of these things. We don't surveil people. We don't use AI. We make our own graphics, like the thumbnail you're seeing for the show today. We do our own research. We gather our own intel and our own audio and video. Who else does that? No one. $5 a month. You should sign up. The link is in the description on today's show, right there. Say, use the coupon code JBOY1. It's right there. And don't cost nothing, and you're in for 30 days. Well, 31 days, depending on what month it is. And I think you're going to become a Crusader, and you're going to subscribe to the Founders Pass and join our growing family here. We've only been at this for 34 years. We're going to get it right soon. Nearly every adult has some sort of device that tracks their data usage and location and sells it to advertisers and other corporations, which is why it's so easy to say yes to another device and promises security that comes with a privacy trade-off asterisk. Majority of Americans, however, are grossly ignorant to just how invasive these gadgets have become. An even bigger number don't read through the terms and conditions. Well, there's 80 pages long. Who can read them, Jordan? These companies don't simply hang on to footage of you, the Truman Show style. Their cameras capture your guests, your family members, your neighbors, and your home surroundings and layout. There's no doubt that the surveillance contraptions have found lost puppies, caught criminals, deterred package thieves, and even recognized a child was choking. Yet all of that comes at a cost. You may not have access to watch what happens on your front porch or outside of your home because you're too cheap to pay a monthly or yearly fee, but Google, Amazon, and other tech companies sure as hell do. As Nancy Guthrie's example shows, even if you turn it off and don't pay for the subscription service, they still have video from your home. And for the low price of your neighbor's privacy, doorbell camera companies can have a complete and total courtside seat to the lives of millions of Americans via an AI-integrated surveillance grid, and hundreds of thousands of other consumers bought products to build for them. All it takes is one incident like Guthrie's disappearance, a natural disaster, or perhaps even a lost dog, as rings suggest, for that footage to be seized and disseminated at the discretion of those companies and the government. Sometimes, as in 2023, when the Federal Trade Commission charged Ring for allowing its employees and contractors to surveil intimate spaces, such as bathrooms or children's bedrooms, it takes nothing at all. You have Ring cameras in your in bedrooms and bathrooms? Who's stupid enough to do that? You deserve to be spied on if you're that dumb. So the lesson at the end of this is there is a big brother, there is a surveillance state. They use it, and they use it to sell things to you, you shouldn't make it easy on them.
Interviews, season 1 and 2 are now streaming on podcast.crusadechannel.com. Okay, please enter the 9-digit 2-step authorization code we just emailed you. Jeez. What do you mean, prove I'm human? Okay, that's a car. That's a car. That's a car. Those are not cars. Please try again. Oh my gosh. I'll show you. Try again, stupid piece of AI mother. Here, try this.
Jim, what are you doing? Good grief, man. This isn't Office Space the movie. What are you trying to do?
I just wanted to send the KingDude a donation through the stupid computer.
Like Trump, the KingDude makes everything better, including donating, which you can now do by mail.
Mail? They still have that?
Of course they do, and the KingDude's keeping the ponies running on time and in business. Just snail mail your donation to P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
Ha! And you can't. You're such a boomer. Me this time. And wait a minute. I know they're around here somewhere. There! Ha-ha!
Dude, those are airmail stamps from the movie Airplane. Surely you have...
Of course I do. And don't call me Shirley. The Crusade Radio Guild is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, so your donations are tax deductible. Donate today, the Crusade Radio Guild, P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
The Crusade Channel and the Slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Maria Filomena with your Saint of the Day. February 11th, Our Lady of Lourdes in 1858. This feast marks the first of 18 apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary to a little 14-year-old French girl in southern France. Bernadette Soubirous was the eldest of 9 children born into a poor family in Lourdes, France on January 7th, 1844. All 11 members lived in a relative's one-room basement, a former prison or dungeon. On the third appearance, the lady spoke to Bernadette for the first time in Occitan, asking Bernadette...
The Crusade Channel and the Slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Maria Filomena with your Saint of the Day. February 12th. The 7 Holy Founders of the Servants of the Blessed Virgin Mary, 1233. This order was dedicated to the Virginal Mother of God in complete love and loyalty, and is known as the Servites. Their founders were 7 noblemen of Florence who dedicated their whole lives to the cult and honor of the Immaculate Mother of God, and who believed that no revealed truth of God can be understood without reference to the Blessed Virgin Mary. The great devotion of these 7 holy Servites was to Our Lady's 7 Sorrows, a devotion commemorated by the Catholic Church on 2 special feasts, one on the 6th Friday of Lent and the other on September 15th. The 7 holy Servites have separate feast days because all are canonized saints, but February 12th is their joint feast. Their names are Saint Bonfilius Monaldius, Saint Bonajuncta Manetus, Saint Manetus Antalensis, Saint Amadeus de Amadeus, Saint Uguccio Uguccionum, Saint Sostenius de Sostenius, and Saint Alexis Falconieri. They were all canonized together in 1887. Saint Alexis was 110 years old when he died. The 7 holy founders of the Servites, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of today's saints. Tomorrow's saint is Saint Polyeucte. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters and contribute to the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Maria Filomena, and until next time, God bless and Mary keep you.
We all have our least favorite cliches, but for this Southern girl, it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What? That's like saying that chicken is as tasty grilled as it is Southern fried. Please. One of my favorite things to see beauty in are rosaries. I just love the combination of colors, material, or the simple beauty of the tri-bead. Well, for these Southern eyes, there is no finer maker of rosaries than the Little Bayou Rosary, started by my friend and yours, Maggie O'Connell. The Rosary has a beautiful rosary handmade in Louisiana just for you, and each one is a unique, beautiful work of art. We have an almost unlimited variety of styles, color combos, and patron saint inspired rosaries. To order, go to mikechurch.com/rosary and view our current original designs. Available only in the Founders Trading Post at mikechurch.com/rosary or call us at 844-527-8723.
Some people say he's got a hole in his head, because LGBTQ plus nonsense goes in one ear, but goes right out the other. The Mike Church Show is on CrusadeChannel.com.
And they're not just Democrats. They know the wheel has run off. This country doesn't work.
The Democrats, they took the House, they're in control, and I could die. Payday's creeping, the tax increasing in wintertime. And in July, they marry gays by the hour and lesbos by the minute. Took our wetlands and changed the speed limits. I'd like to call them something, but they charge me with crimes of hate. War is something for the strong. They fight a hurricane before the caliphate. There's only one Hillary, but I don't care.
Another vast right-wing conspiracy.
There's Democrats somewhere.
How about if we say that when the Democrats run America, every single day we're going to fight for universal health care? That's what we believe in.
This country doesn't work.
They say Bush lied and people died all afternoon and half the night. Impeachment hearings, Bush knows they'll be held to pay. Hey, they'll whack him right. We ain't caught a detainee now in over a year. Our Iraq redeployment's gonna start right here. If the phone's been lighting, you can tell him he can bomb away. War is something for the strong. They fight a hurricane before the caliphate. There's only one Howard Dean, but I don't care. There's Democrats somewhere.
We got the Civil Rights Act under Democrat. We got the Voting Rights Act under Democrat. We got the right to organize under Democrat.
This is serious as it gets.
They can commit war crimes, leak secrets to the Times, and raise your taxes up before 2. We don't know nothing. So we gotta stop this. I can't help but wonder, what would Ronald Reagan do?
Well, the Democrats are communists.
War is something for the strong. They'd fight a hurricane before the caliphate. There's only one Hillary, but I don't care.
Ladies and gentlemen, in for the Gipper, Mr. Jim Mosher.
War is something for the strong. They fight a hurricane before the caliphate. There's only one Hillary, but I don't care. Hell, I don't care. He don't care. There's Democrats somewhere.
Every day, Democrats talk about how badly things are going in Iraq.
The Oracle of Optimism, Optionist Prime. Mike Church Show here on a Thursday. Show is live. This portion of the program brought to you by the Crusade Radio Guild at crusadechannel.com/donate. I want to thank Little Frog 25. Hey! Got us started today with a $5 donation on the YouTube channel. Folks, so 5 minus 5,000 is 4,995. That's the ask and the need for February. So, Red, White, and Dude Nation, are you going to show our guests that are listening today in the free preview on YouTube what makes the Red, White, and Dude Nation tick? Am I going to start reading names off? Such and such, $100, thank you! Or are they going to hear me crying into my weak tea going, like, this guy sucks, he can't raise a dime? Don't let that happen. Don't let Crusade take that chance. All it takes is one click of one button, crusadechannel.com/donate. And you can also become a Founders Pass member today, free of charge, if you're in the YouTube chat. All the details are in the show description, or someone is in that room chatting, or they should be, and are telling you all about it, how to get it for free for 1 month. Don't cost nothing. Right there on the YouTube chat. Let's do some more digital media files here, but start at the top. Play number 1. This is J.D. Vance, who's asked the question, what do you think about these American Olympic athletes that don't have anything good to say about America? You know. No, go ahead. Sorry. Roll.
The Olympic athletes were unbelievable, and I know the entire country is rooting for them. Yes, you're going to have some Olympic athletes who pop off about politics. I feel like that happens every Olympics. My advice to them would be to try to bring the country together. And when you're representing the country, you're representing Democrats and Republicans. No. You're there to play a sport, and you're there to represent your country and hopefully win a medal. You're not there to pop off about politics. So when Olympic athletes enter the political arena, they should expect some pushback. But most Olympic athletes, whatever their politics, are doing a great job, are certainly enjoy the support of the entire country. And I think recognize that the way to bring the country together is not to show up in a foreign country and attack the President of the United States, but it's to play your sport and represent the country well.
Irish Trump would just come out on a True Social and go, whoever this coach is, this American, I don't even like this sport, it's stupid. It's like the NFL kickoff, it's stupid. They call it curling.
I like it.
Whoever the coach is, you should be ashamed of yourself. You really should. I agree with JD. You are not representing the Democrat Party and Somalians in Minnesota because you got on the U.S. Olympic team. And so you should just shut the up and say nice things about the Red, White, and Dude Nation and the Red, White, and Blue. You don't have to say anything nice about Trump. You could say, America's a great country and a great land. I love living there. And thanks so much for the folks back home who helped me get here. That's a humble thing to say. Pam Bondi testified yesterday in the Epstein case. Apparently, 1,700 child predators have been arrested by the FBI. No. That guy in the Crusader Stadium chat room with the Frog Watch says it's noon and no one's been arrested. Well, how's that possible? Just go to the next one, number 2. Here is kind of a recap of what actually has happened.
To address the Epstein files, more than 500 attorneys and reviewers spent thousands of hours painstakingly reviewing millions of pages to comply with Congress's law. We've released more than 3 million pages, including 180,000 images, all to the public, while doing our very best in the time frame allotted by the legislation to protect victims. And if you brought us a victim's name that was inadvertently released, we immediately redacted it. All members of Congress, as you know, are invited to visit DOJ to see for yourselves. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the Epstein survivors who are here today. I'm a career prosecutor, and despite what the ranking member said, I have spent my entire career fighting for victims, and I will continue to do so. I am deeply sorry.
She's, of course, talking
for what
about
any
the
victim,
dumbest man to ever be elected to Congress, Jamie
has been
Raskin.
through, especially as a result of that monster. If you have any information to share with law enforcement about anyone who has hurt you or abused you, the FBI is waiting to hear from you. I want you to know that any accusations of criminal wrongdoing will be taken seriously and investigated. The Department of Justice is committed to holding criminals accountable to the fullest extent of the law. In 2025, the FBI arrested over 1,700 child predators, a 10% increase from 2024. We also located 2,700 victims of child exploitation and shut down 3.8 million dark web pedophile accounts. 3.8 million. So please, if you have information to share that needs to be investigated, contact the FBI.
So, there's nothing being done. I keep saying this. That's just not true. Stop saying it. Well, they haven't done it. Well, maybe they haven't done it fast enough for you. And we'd all like to see every pedophile on earth burned at the stake, or put into a mental institution, or burned at the stake. You know, flip a coin. These are people that have committed sins that cry out to heaven for vengeance. I pray for their conversion, and then their reconciliation, and then that is the extent of it. These people are not reformable. You can't take a pederast and turn them into someone who's not a pederast. They're always going to be a pederast. It's a mental disease. Moving on. Let us talk about the. I'm just looking. There's so the SAFE Act passed the House of Representatives yesterday, and there's a couple of good clips in here. There's a bunch of good ones actually. How about number 10? You know, you hear all this hysteria. Well, these people all of these Jim Crow people are not going to be able to vote. They're going to be disenfranchised now. And I keep saying that, and so do a lot of other people going like, why are you saying these people are like too stupid to like prove who they are and use the conventional means that everyone else has to use to just go prove who they are and get a state identification? You don't even have to get a driver's license if you don't want. I know here in Louisiana, you can go to the DMV and say, I don't want a driver's license, I just need an ID. And they'll go like, anything to prove who you are? And you go like, birth certificate, social security card, and then there's a phone bill. Or a cell phone bill or whatever. And they'll look in and go like, well, those are the three things you need. And fill this form out, you go sit for your picture, bammo, you got a state ID. Simple as that. People are acting, though, as though you have to jump through flaming hoops of fire and then submit the DNA test and what have you, and then go into a tribunal and be asked a bunch of questions about your citizenship. And if you answer incorrectly, you are banished from voting for life. I wish they would make everyone who votes take a test on civics and the Constitution. If you can't answer a simple question about the Constitution, how dare you pull that lever? Stay the bleep at home. Representative Anna Paulina Luna. Nice to see her out of her extortion racket for mandatory employer paid 6 months or whatever the hell it was of maternity leave, and actually back against Democrats now.
The gentlewoman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
My colleagues are spending a lot of time lecturing the American people on how this is going to require you to show your papers. But last time I checked, during COVID, they demanded that if you simply wanted to go to a funeral, be with your loved ones while they were dying, or get married, you had to show your papers. In fact, in New York City, they were literally asking you for your COVID passport. Yet the Save America Act, a common sense piece of legislation that requires two things, voter ID plus proof of citizenship, is being labeled by people in the Senate and people in this very chamber as Jim Crow era laws. Well, let me remind the American people of history. It was the Democrat Party that championed the Jim Crow era laws. And this is the farthest thing from it. In fact, if you're doing that, you're insulting over 70% of your voters, Democrats, who believe that voter ID is the best way to secure an election. Then we have the argument that you have from Blue Anon saying that Trump is trying to steal the election and Orange Man bad, and this is somehow going to fix the midterms. But the fact is that if we are going to play that game, then you would want voter ID and you would want to secure the elections. So please support this legislation. I do not believe that Barack Obama, in showing his voter ID, was engaging in Jim Crow era law or pushing that type of perspective. And for the same people that are advocating, saying that Kristi Noem and ICE will demand your personal information and you will be under surveillance, let I remind them that they actually all authorized the reauthorization of FISA, unreformed, that violated your constitutional rights. So this is pretty simple. If you are not an American, you do not get to vote in our elections. This is not a free-for-all country. A majority of Americans support this. A majority of the world has voter ID in place. It is not racist. I appreciate my colleagues and the House admin for doing this, and I support all of my colleagues and urge them to vote for this piece of legislation.
And then you could, Tim Burchett made a good speech. I mean, there's a lot of people that had made similar appeals. It's all good. It passed. In 2021, Nazi Winebox Nancy Pelosi put a piece of legislation on the floor of the House of Representatives called H.R. 1, the Restore America Act? I think it was the Restore. It was H.R. 1. What it basically did is a reverse of what the SAVE Act did. And they got it out of the For the People Act. And they got it out of the House, but it died in the Senate. I don't believe that the SAVE Act is going to die in the Senate, despite Schmuckle Schumer's characterizing it as Jim Crow too. And as Anna Paulina Luna was pointing out, these were Scoop Jackson Yellow Dog Democrats that were responsible for the so-called Jim Crow laws. It wasn't the Republican Party responsible for that. It was Democrats. So in any event, truth in history can be a guide to lots of cool things. Like the way things actually happen and not the way the Democrat Party wants you to think that they happen. I want to switch gears here. This portion of the program brought to you by the Crusade Radio Guild. Donate, donate, donate. Join, join, join. You're getting a free preview of the Mike Church Show here. Don't cost nothing today on YouTube. YouTube.com/@RealKingDude. You can watch this every day. Your morning drive will be restored to where it was when you was a little children's. And you couldn't wait to get in the car in the morning and listen to Walton and Johnson or whoever. They were your good radio friend. The Mike Church Show is your important radio and TV friend. And you should support us with all your might. And you should join us. If you're in the YouTube chat, there's a link in the description with a coupon code. Use it. Won't cost you a dime today or in the future unless you choose and become a Founders Pass member for 1 month free. Don't cost nothing. This much.
0.0.
Sign up today or make a one-time or many-time donation at crusadechannel.com/donate. Thank you very much. In his latest book, The Last Men, Liberalism and the Death of Masculinity, Dr. Charles Cornish Dale, also known as the Raw Egg Nationalist, makes the case for the importance of hormones to the body politic. He's writing about testosterone. Well, this is not something that comes up at the kitchen table every day. Maybe it should. Thanks to Da Fender on YouTube for the $10 donation. You people in the Crusader Stadium, you're about to get my ire up here, and I'm about to go Hillary Duff for the rest of the day. I even said earlier, what an embarrassment it would be if we raised more money on the YouTube chat or just watching for free today than we raised at crusadechannel.com/chat. You know, that chat room costs money to run and can be turned off at any time. Yeah, take that as a threat. You can make a donation too. So he's talking about testosterone and about the lack of manliness out there. There's a piece that was out yesterday. I didn't do it, but I had it. Rod Dreher had this piece about how the French Foreign Legion can't find... the French Foreign Legion, yeah, I know they're French, says we have males, we need men. Basically, they can recruit people that look like men. Well, once they start training them to be French Foreign Legion officers, they find out that, yeah, you're not very manly. So in The Last Man, Liberalism and the Death of Masculinity, Cornersdale proves from the outset there has been a steady drop in testosterone and sperm production among the world's male population over the past several decades. Study after study indicates that more and more men today lack the very physicality required to be fully men, to value what they are meant to value, and to be what they are meant to be. And they lack that physicality because of testosterone decline. In practical terms, this looks like a growing cohort of depressed, frustrated men who lack the wherewithal to couple with a woman and reproduce. What he's saying here is that maybe it's not their fault. Maybe they have not chosen to do it. Maybe it's in the water. Maybe it's...
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Crap gay.
Which really actually happened at the University of Colorado. What does the other stuff that's in the water do to the lack of sperm production? Cornersdale makes it clear that a mass of physically emasculated young men does not portend world peace and accelerated material process. Not only will it become impossible for humans to reproduce by natural means, that's in the book, spelling certain doom for the human race, but it also will also generate mass desperation that will manifest itself in the political realm and beyond. Cornersdale notes that even how the philosopher Plato, quote, knew that a horde of angry, uncomfortable males. Well, you'll have to wait to the next segment.
News, AI-generated slop, hola. Isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no. Get your hands off of me. You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up. Jeez.
Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content, but we hope to next time.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
Then, on 10 May 1776, Congress instructed the colonies to form their own governments and write their constitutions.
Resolved that it be recommended to the respective assemblies of the United Colonies to adopt such government as shall best conduce to the happiness and safety.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
property.
Broadcasting live
24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via CrusadeChannel.com.
Let's face it, the truth just sounds different, like a symphony of facts.
And now, from the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Thursday, February 12th, 2026. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Channel News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report is brought to you by the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, the best way to listen to the KingDude ever. The installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device. Go to crusadechannel.com/app. Tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. And here's what to listen for this hour. Only one House Democrat voted in favor of voter ID. Trump threatens consequences after 6 House Republicans vote to reverse his Canada tariffs. Transgender ex-student identified as alleged suspect in Canada's school shooting that left at least 9 dead. South Korean crypto exchange accidentally hands out $40 billion in Bitcoin, and Mark Zuckerberg is the latest tech billionaire to shun California with ultra-luxe Miami mansion purchase. The House of Representatives passed a massive election integrity overhaul bill on Wednesday, despite opposition from the vast majority of Democrats. The House passed Representative Chip Roy's Save America Act, legislation that's aimed at keeping non-citizens from voting in our country in federal elections. All but one House Democrat, Representative Harry Kular from Texas, voted against the bill. It passed 218 to 213. President Donald Trump is threatening to back election challengers against the 6 House Republicans who joined Democrats in voting to reverse his tariffs on Canada. The president sent out an ominous warning to GOP lawmakers in the House and Senate just before his agenda suffered a blow on Capitol Hill last night. Any Republican in the House or Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences come election time, and that includes primaries. Trump posted on Truth Social. He argued the trade deficit was reduced significantly while U.S. financial markets hit significant high points because of his tariff policies. At least 9 people were killed in connection to a mass shooting Tuesday at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in Vancouver, British Columbia, officials told us on Wednesday. Police identified the suspect, reportedly also found dead, as an 18-year-old transgender man who allegedly killed 2 family members at home before opening fire at the school he had once attended. While searching, the school officers found 6 victims dead from gunshot wounds. The alleged shooter, identified as 18-year-old Jesse Van Roostelaar, dead from what appeared to be self-inflicted injury. He identified as female but was assigned male at birth. Our quote of the day: to be a servant of Christ is to be truly free. St. Agatha. And coming up, a look at more headlines. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Capuchin Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
You can learn all about today's Saint of the Day at the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. Now, a look at more headlines. A South Korean crypto exchange accidentally got rid of more than $40 billion worth of Bitcoin into customers' accounts. An astounding error during a giveaway meant to award prizes worth just a few cents each. The blunder at BitThumb, South Korea's largest or second largest cryptocurrency exchange, briefly turned ordinary users into 9-figure Bitcoin holders and triggered a brief crash that rattled the country's tightly watched digital asset market. The event happened on Friday when a BitThumb employee was tasked with distributing giveaway prizes totaling 620,000 Korean won, about $425, as part of a promotional random box event. Instead of entering the payouts in won, the staffer mistakenly put in the amount of Bitcoin, resulting in 620,000 Bitcoins being credited across hundreds of customer accounts, a massive sum worth more than $40 billion at the time. Mark Zuckerberg is the latest tech titan to put down some cash on Florida property as billionaires continue to shun California, according to a new report. The Meta CEO and his wife Priscilla Chan purchased an estate on Miami's Indian Creek that likely sold for between $150 million and $200 million, according to the Wall Street Journal. Aerial images obtained exclusively by the New York Post, a gated barrier island nicknamed Billionaire Bunker for its ultra-wealthy residents that include David and Victoria Beckham, Tom Brady, and Jeff Bezos, among others. Agents and brokers in Miami said there's been an influx of Californians looking for ultra-luxury properties to snatch up in the area. The purchases come as California legislators have proposed a one-time 5% billionaire tax to scrounge up funds for a healthcare system under the strain of federal funding cuts. You're listening to Crusade Channel News. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
This is a pixel. I'm Groot. Now, if you put a couple of million of these guys together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple of billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 360 billion of them, and you got Chesterton's book, Orthodoxy. But it doesn't smell like a book, and it burns teeny little holes in your cornea. So is the pixel really your friend? I'm Groot. No, but the Founders Trading Post is your friend, and we have actual books with actual smelly pages. Plus, our little bookstore has everything you'd expect. I'm Groot. Yes, Groot, to the gourmet coffee, but no to the One Tree Hill sappy guitar music.
Pick up a copy of G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy, plus many other Chesterton titles at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hi, folks, it's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
I know there is still a chance for peace and reconciliation. I know it, despite what has happened here today. I trust there are many in this room who have not been consumed with the fevers of war. The fevers of Mr. Adams' war.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
If women living near rivers and taking the pill turns the frickin' frogs gay, imagine what happens to men on the same river who don't listen to Mike Church.
How you doing? Marcus Tullius Meridius Maximus Augustus Optionist Prime. It is the Mike Church Show here on a Thursday. Mike Church Network now in full swing. If you're watching us on the YouTube today, head on over to Substack during the course of this interview and look for Arthuriana and subscribe. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Trading Post store. So today, folks, we are drinking out of our Capuchin Holy Roast mug made by the Mountain Arts Pottery Company in Montana. We are drinking espresso blend from the Brothers at the Abbey in Silver City, New Mexico at 8,100 feet elevation. Coffee has a totally great and unique taste to it. Get yourself a bag or 16 today at shop.mikechurch.com right alongside my Capuchin Holy Roast, which is a blended coffee, Arabica beans blended with Ethiopian beans. So we are your coffee outfitter out there. So if you're looking for gourmet coffee, you're going to buy it anyway. Why not get it from us? Shop.mikechurch.com. Don't forget the mug and the other great books and everything is in the Founders Trading Post store at shop.mikechurch.com. Quickly, thanks to Da Fender, Chris Cap, Jackie Smart, Tracy Stoller for their donations. Keep them coming, folks. Long way to go. Speaking of long ways to go, let's go to the... I say this every time, and I screw myself every time I say I tested everything and we're good to go. So, do you have StreamYard on?
Can you hear me? Testing.
No, I wanted to hear the StreamYard babes. Ashley and what's her name go? Testing your speaker on StreamYard. No, I can hear you perfect, Arthur. Good morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to test it before I said, I tested it and I'm telling you, gosh, bling it, it's going to work. So that's...
Oh, very good. Okay.
Because it bites me in the you-know-what every time I say, no, I tested it and it's going to work, and it doesn't. So the kiss of death is to say that I tested it. So I didn't say that I tested it today. So instead I just did
an act of faith, right?
So it's warmed up a bit. Does that mean Little John is back outside?
Little John is very busy. I only kept him inside for about 3 or 4 days when the snow was very bad. But I caught him outside socializing with another squirrel. So he's when the weather gets warm, I'm going to expect him to assume a little bit more independence. But he's as fat as ever. He's been raiding the bird feeder, and I was out. He's been, when I walk out the front door, he's been waiting for me, and so I can't even sneak out the house without Little John climbing up my leg, and he's followed me all the way to the car. I was, running out to run some errands, and I go around into the street to get in the driver's side door, and Little John crawls underneath the car and then crawls up my leg. And he's like, "Where are you going?" And then I sat in the car, and he ran away. And then I turned the engine on, and he didn't like that. But so the last couple of days, he's been standing on our neighbor's light. And I guess it's because he's waiting for me to come back and to see if I have some pecans for him or something like that. But yeah, no, he's doing great.
And if you don't know, folks watching at home, Little John is a squirrel that was adopted because he had an injury, and Arthur and his wife nursed a Little John back to health. And now, in the spirit of the Big Lebowski, you're keeping a marmot inside city limits, Arthur. So don't
I've actually
tell
checked on that. Now having been sued so often that I'm attentive to what the laws around squirrel rehabilitation licensure actually are. And so I don't have to have one if he's kept outside and not in a cage. And so I don't even close the box anymore. He's free. He has a heated box that he can come and go from as he pleases. But he sticks pretty close.
Soon to be a major motion picture, The Life of Little John, or A Life of Little John.
That's right. He's got the nuts.
He's got the nuts. I want to start with Arthur today. Yeah, there's a most fascinating thing. You're a history nerd. I'm a history nerd. And we never seem to get enough. I had no idea. To tell you the truth, I never thought about it. I had no idea, no clue about Harry Houdini. I mean, from that era, I know about Chesterton, of course. I know about Belloc. I could tell you, I've read... what's her name? The book about the Forgotten Man, Amity Slay. I read Amity Slay's book, her biography of Coolidge. So I know about Coolidge, and I actually read a bio about Herbert Hoover, a far more complicated man than anybody gives him credit for. And I love Lindbergh, and I read a Charles Lindbergh biography. But I had never even. I guess I just skipped over Harry Houdini. But apparently there's a new book out. So, and you reviewed it.
Yeah, I mean, I can go into this. This came out last year, and it's a semi-biography of Houdini, but it's more about it's really more about his work, and in specific his work as it touches on matters political and matters criminal and public. So Houdini was famously, I think even people that are really only familiar with him as a magician know that he was a famous enemy of spiritualism, which is people who would talk to the dead through mediums and hold seances and things like that. And Houdini was in his latter career was very opposed to it, and he not just spoke out against it and gave testimony in public hearings. He would sometimes infiltrate and bust them, and he would catch the mediums doing either fake readings or sometimes he would. There was one example in here of a dwarf inside of a drum, and so you'd go into the seances, you'd hear a crash, you'd hear some loud noise, and that's supposed to be the spirits being active. And there's one event in here where a medium is busted because there's a dwarf inside the drum. That's real kind of sort of Victorian carnival type stuff. But the piece of it, the kind of set piece events was there was actually a bill in Congress in the mid 1920s to ban mediumship here in the District of Columbia. And that would have to go through Congress because, DC doesn't have its own legislature. And Houdini was of the mind that DC had a terrible mediumship problem, had a terrible problem of fraudulent mediums, taking advantage of grieving widows, mothers, and so on. And so there are a bunch of events throughout the book where he's testifying in the course of, I think, a couple of days, and in the hearing room opposing him are the advocacy and civil society groups that are supportive of spiritualism. And it's a little bit, we write this off as like something that you do when you're on vacation. You maybe go see a palm reader or something like that, or you do like a ghost tour. That's very much not what spiritualism was when it was in vogue. One of the things that it was a way to deal with grief. Spiritualism had an uptick after the Civil War and after World War I. And the reason for that is a lot of people wanted to speak to their grieving children. And, when someone in your life dies that you care about, there's a process, and it helps you work through the loss of that person. You have a funeral, you talk to your friends about them, and then you're able to visit their graveside when you've buried them. But if your loved one is buried, in the case of the Civil War, probably Virginia, or in the case of World War I, France or Flanders, it's harder to do that, and so you're alienated from the death of your relatives, and so you reach out for any method that might give you the opportunity to kind of get that closure. And there are a lot of and there are a lot of mediums that are ready to take advantage of that. And go ahead.
The series that I worked on with Ralph Sarshi, Deliver Us from Evil tapes. Episode 1, Amityville Horror. I did the history of Amityville, and as you're talking, I'm going like, wait a minute, I actually know a little bit about this. Spiritualism, or Spiritism as they started on Long Island. Started on Long Island, New York. A pair of sisters, witches, wackos.
The Fox sisters.
Yes, the Fox sisters, exactly. Thank you. Because I was going like, I can't remember their name, but I know the story. The Fox sisters started Spiritism, and it caught on. And it grew and grew and grew, expanded out way beyond Long Island. And there were Spiritism chapters all over the Northeast, all over New England. I didn't know that they made it all the way down to D.C., though. And spiritualism, there's just some evil stuff here, folks. One of the primary... I'm trying to remember his name, the dude that invented the Ouija board was a spiritualist. He practiced spiritism. So the Ouija board has just an entire creepy AF history to it itself. But the guy said, now, and this dude came along and he was telling people, and they were having these seances, and they were charging hundreds of dollars because they said they were talking to George Washington. And they actually, they'd ask him questions, and of course, all they had was a good biography. They had probably Washington Irving's biography. They had a good biography, but Washington would speak, and he said, "Oh no, I did this and the other." People can't possibly remember this. So I'm glad this guy wrote this book and that this is in it. This spiritism stuff, folks, was bad news. Bad news.
And Houdini kind of focused on it as a question of fraud, as like a question of crime, because he was sort of he was like a rationalist. And the phrase I used in the review of the book is that you could kind of compare him today as like a white hat hacker, of somebody who goes in and tests security systems.
Mm-hmm.
And getting out of Scotland Yard handcuffs. Scotland Yard goes and looks at their handcuffs. Oh well, maybe we need some better handcuffs. And so he was interested in this as like he's the best example of the American style of stage magician, which is very interested in these tricks in magic, but also in busting frauds and kind of science. And so he was personally of Jewish ancestry, but his father was a Reform rabbi. He was not an especially religious man himself, and so he's sort of like a very rationalistic, science-minded guy, and so he's looking at spiritualism as a question of criminal fraud, and what got him into this was he actually attended a séance when he was a youngster in Wisconsin. He was born in the 1870s.
Okay.
And he went there, and as a youngster, he was, as many young boys are, is interested in history, and in particular Abraham Lincoln. He's an upper Midwesterner. Abraham Lincoln is maybe the most important politician from that neck of the woods. He reads all about his life, and so when he goes into the séance, the medium calls forth the spirit of Abraham Lincoln, and Houdini realizes, even as a youngster, wait a minute, some of the details this medium is communicating to me are not consistent with what I've read about the life of Abraham Lincoln. And so even in his early life, he's kind of got this sense that these mediums are very often full of it. And so when he starts getting well known as a stage magician, he's asked at one point in Kansas when attendance numbers are down to do a spook act, so he's been on both sides of the trade, so to speak. He's been participating in a spook act, and like the difference between a spook act and a seance is pretty minimal, right? Let me say a spook act and a fraudulent seance. And so he's participated in this. He eventually regrets it, and then spends much of the rest of his life busting frauds. And his main antagonist in his latter life, and both of them they were at one time friends, but they came to really loathe one another, was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. And Arthur Conan Doyle was a very convinced spiritualist. And the thing, when Catholics talk about this, we tend to talk about it in terms of, don't do this because you might actually, call forth spirits.
And Arthur Conan Doyle also was hanging out with who? George Bernard Shaw, a Satanist.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And but the way that these spiritualists used to think about it was a lot more scientific at the time. They thought because the origin of this stuff, you said it started in Long Island. There's also, deep roots of this stuff in Massachusetts, but it's mostly a northern phenomenon. Southerners were less likely to go for it. It was less popular there. And the phrase that I used in the review is that it's sort of a Yankee vice. And and one of the things about it is they thought that when we refer to spiritualism, the thing that occurs in our minds is, oh, they're talking about something which is supernatural. And the spiritualists of the time would have denied that. They would have said that, we're actually understanding that the natural world is broader and more complicated than we actually knew. And so, basically they were claiming that the spirits were, basically part of the natural world, which is not really how a Catholic would define it. Anyway, so I think that's kind of an important distinction. And so Doyle and Houdini became bitter enemies over this stuff. Houdini spent much of his time busting these frauds, and Doyle would insist that how dare he's an unbeliever, and this kind of thing. And it turned out, there are a lot of kind of unanswered questions about all this, but a lot of this, one of the ways that the spiritualists would try to parry Houdini's skepticism was to say that Houdini himself is a person of considerable spiritual power, and basically saying, oh yeah, you may not think you're a spiritualist, but the spiritualists see you, and so that was one of the ways that they tried to deal with the attack.
It's fascinating to me as well that with J. Arthur Bloom of Arthuriana here on a Thursday edition of the Mike Church Show, it's fascinating to me, and I didn't know this, that both Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Houdini were both Masons. And,
that's right.
And then you say it has the whiff of a Masonic hoax. Well, almost everything the Masons do is a hoax, especially when it pertains to Catholics and Catholicism, which you're not supposed to talk about. Folks, you can get this book. And just, based on our discussion here of your review of it, the book is titled, what's the title?
Lincoln's Ghost.
Lincoln's Ghost, Houdini's War on Spiritualism and the Dark Conspiracy Against the Presidency. I think there's a lot of meat on this, but I'm going to get it. Okay.
It is an engrossing and very fun read. The way that there's a lot of suspense. It's a lot of fun to read. I've not had as much fun reading a book in quite some time. I highly recommend picking it up. And the one of the things I tried to expand on with the review was some of the occult and magical stuff around the Lincoln assassination. Like John Wilkes Booth's sister was into spiritualism, and then one of the magicians that Houdini knew, kind of from the previous generation, was in Ford's Theater the night that he was shot. And so there's a fairly direct link between, there's 2 degrees of separation between Houdini and Lincoln himself.
And of course, and you aptly pointed this out, and thank you for that. I'm glad you did. That Mary Surratt was probably, by all legal senses, innocent. I stopped watching. I watched one half of one episode of the Apple TV series on Wilkes Booth and the Lincoln assassination. And the whole thing was built around the premise that Mary Surratt was guilty. And not only was she guilty, she was completely involved at the planning stages of the conspiracy. I'm going this is historical garbage, Tim Cook. Why is this? There should be a giant disclaimer at the bottom of this completely, entirely fictitious account here of the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln, which was undoubtedly carried out by Wilkes Booth. I don't think we doubt that. Hell, Wilkes Booth himself bragged about it and said that he did it. But Mary Surratt didn't have anything to do with it. She probably went, and of course, the bigotry against Catholics at the time didn't help her cause. And she was almost like Saint Margaret of Clitheroe. She was like, you're not going to get me to renounce, dude, so I can be innocent. So, what did they do to Saint Margaret of Clitheroe? They doored her to death. They crushed her, basically. Mary Surratt, they hanged her. I mean, there have been books written about that. Tell you what, hang on. Let me get this break out of the way. I want to talk next about Arthur's piece here about Epstein and the sickos, and then about the controversy over Carrie Prejean Baller being whacked from this Religious Liberty Commission that Trump began, and kind of how this, because the first meeting they had was in last May. Now, the most explosive clip that I have seen is from last May. Apparently, there was another one, and we'll talk about that and Zionism all when we come back here on the Mike Church Show. So, as they say, don't touch that dial.
Listening to the Crusade Channel, live talk radio for the men of new Christendom and the trad wives who love them.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Thursday, February 12th, 2026. This report is brought to you by the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, the best way to listen to the KingDude ever, and installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. In the market report, the Dow was down 0.13%, the S&P was flat, and NASDAQ was down a little too, 0.16%. In National Day calendar news, today is National Giving Hearts Day. That's the second Thursday in February. The celebration offers one of the best opportunities to donate to your favorite charity. And today is National Plum Pudding Day, celebrating a traditional holiday dessert in February. Plum pudding is also known as Christmas pudding, which is why some think this is a confusing time to celebrate the food holiday. The earliest documented record of plum pudding is found in the oldest known English cookbook, which was published roughly around 1390, called The Form of Curry. The cookbook was a compilation by the master cooks of King Richard II. Plum pudding then wasn't even a dessert. It was a savory broth made of beef or mutton, onions, and root vegetables, thickened with breadcrumbs and mixed with dried fruits, wine, and spices. Our quote of the day: to be a servant of Christ is to be truly free. Saint Agatha. And you can learn about today's Saint of the Day in the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Spirit of 76. The Spirit of 76 details the true story of the writing and ratifying of the U.S. Constitution.
Besides the expenses of maintaining the Senate and other House in as much splendor as they please, there is to be a great and mighty president with very extensive powers, the powers of a king.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and is packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Spirit of 76 on a 2-DVD or 3-CD set. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
This is Capcom. We are ready to go for launch at the Crusade Channel launch site. New show lineup.
Go.
Broadcasting live on X, YouTube, and Rumble.
We'll go fly.
Breaking news updates. Go. The Mike Church Show Band.
We'll go.
We're go for launch for the Crusade Channel 4.0 mothership.
2, 1, lift off.
On August 4th, the Crusade Channel launched Crusade Channel 4.0, the mothership. And now you can see why everyone else is lost in space.
The Mike Church Show wanted to choose a special term for the loyal and erudite members of our audience. But dude was already taken.
Dude.
So we picked Veritas instead. Hey, Cosgrove, Veritas meets to solve the world's problems every morning with the KingDude. Will you be there?
It's a deal.
The Mike Church Show, heard exclusively on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
of that Pac-Man fever. So tonight on Thursday Night Throwdown here on the, if you're listening or watching on a Crusade channel, then tonight at 6 Central, at 7 Eastern, at Thursday Night Throwdown, greatest video games. And of course, you can't have a show about video games and the men that play them and love them without having something about Pac-Man in there. So we'll talk about all of it. I've been looking into the Signal chat, and I'm going like, people are posting the names of these video games, and I'm going, I never heard of some of these. And of course, a video game would also include early PC computers, the Amigas and the Commodore, had games on them. That's how they sold them. It's one of the big selling points was you buy the computer and you get this game. And, before the Nintendo, there was the Mattel Corporation came out with the Intelligence or Intella something system, and you could play football and baseball on it. So there's just, there's no shortage of things to talk about in video games, unless you're talking about today. But, I went to an ice cream parlor last summer, and I found it interesting. You know what they had in the ice cream parlor? Arcade games. Pinball machines and Galaga. To which that lady right there claims to be the world Galaga champion. Arthur, you ever played Galaga?
Not in a very long time. I'm not very good at video games.
Well, I was really good at Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man. And I used to play a game called Q*bert. I mean, there were so many of them. But the arcade games, the thing that I thought was neat about the arcade games is that it required in person. You had to leave your house, go to the arcade to play it. So, and of course they would make home versions of them. Nintendo would give you a home version of Pac-Man or whatever. But, and the original was, and when I was a little children in high school, dude, a Friday night, this was where you went. You got your buddy to buy, my buddies and I, a bottle of Southern Comfort, and then you could buy your Coke at the arcade, go into the bathroom and make your Southern Comfort and Coke, and no one was the wiser. And a bunch of high school guys in there getting stoned out of their mind on Southern Comfort and playing the basketball game or pinball or whatever. So I grew up at a time when arcades were very popular. So we'll talk video games tonight. Everyone is invited. If you're watching on YouTube, yes, you can watch it on YouTube as well. Tonight, 6 Central, 7 Eastern. I want to talk about your piece here about they really are sicko. What we know about the Epstein files is bad enough. Now, you wrote this on Sunday, thinking that, okay, the files are, or Saturday, thinking the files are going to come out on Monday. And they did. Of course, now we've had redactions and then unredactions and then whole pieces of the paper. They're just like, why would you even release that? Just a giant black block. So what's your take on what we know now compared to what we knew before the release of 3 million files?
Well, so what happened on Monday was Congress was given access to the unredacted versions. And this basically never happens where investigative records are usually protected. But in this instance, where a criminal defendant has been killed prior to our ability to try him, and the high profile of the defendant, or at least the number of important people that knew him, the argument for disclosure is, normally during a trial, we would sort through what's relevant to the criminal charges, what's not. But the sort of things that Epstein was doing have such an obvious public relevance that, in a democratic society, people should get to see at least part of them.
Right.
And so what we know now, this is obviously an enormous scandal, and it's going to be used, and it already kind of is being used, especially in Europe. I think it's probably fair to say that the Epstein files are having a bigger impact in Europe than they are in the United States.
Huge.
And one of the reasons you might say that is the Epstein files have not prompted resignations among Trump's circle, who are connected to them. Among them, Howard Lutnick, and some other. I mean, Lutnick's the main one, but there are some others too.
Yeah, it's Lutnick is the one that appears in the actual files. So he actually was basically compelled. I don't know if Trump made him do it. Go ahead and tell him what you know. Tell him what you did. It's the only way. You can't hide anymore, Howard. I love you, but you didn't tell me about Epstein, and I'm very disappointed.
Right. And I guess the decision was made when Trump took office this time that rather than having the roiling, cancellations, scandals, resignations of his first term, we're just not going to play that game. Well, fair enough. It's the sort of thing that works until it doesn't. I think where we're at with Trump now is unless he engages in some pretty significant course correction, he's going to spend the last 2 years of his presidency mired in impeachments, and thereafter a lot of his associates will go to prison. So he's got to kind of fix that. There's the broader question. I think there's evidence to support the allegation that Epstein was a sex trafficker. He was convicted on the state charges of soliciting prostitution from a minor. That doesn't seem to have been his main business, however. His main business was asset recovery, off-book settlements, and some other unusual things.
Extortion.
Well, yeah, that's the question.
You call
is
it
sort of
asset
whether,
recovery.
Right, or he would say maybe recovering stolen assets. But yeah, I mean, extortion is another way of putting it. The difference between recovering stolen assets and extortion is one's ostensibly for a good cause. But the other piece of this, the thing that's less lurid but more sinister about all of this, and what kind of implicates him with Ehud Barak. So his, the Epstein-Israel connection is that Epstein was allied primarily with the Israeli, to the extent that Israel has a left, it's the left of center side of Israeli politics. He was close to Ehud Barak. And the way that they see Israel's problems and even, their vision for what sort of country Israel ought to be is somewhat different from the more Likud gangster types that the Republicans are used to interacting with, or religious Jews. And so, one of the things that's in these files that's really quite sinister is Epstein and Barak were talking about how do we solve Israel's demographic problems. And one of those demographic problems is that basically Palestinians are having children faster than Israelis. And so Barak's answer to that was we can just convert a lot of people to Judaism and they can come to Israel. And that's not really how, a really religious Orthodox Jew would see the question. That, the kind of terms of eligibility, who's a Jew, this kind of thing, they see that quite differently than Barak would.
Right.
Who would have been, Barak's basically like a liberal nationalist. But the notion that you can kind of breed your way out of Israel's demographic problems, there's a way that touches on some of the things that Epstein was involved in. There's the kind of the spotting of young women that he sees as useful for some purpose. The obvious one is, for use sexually. But he was also into all of this kind of eugenics stuff.
Hardly anyone talks about, Arthur, hardly anyone talks about the New Mexico part, the New Mexico ranch.
Right.
Which
and,
he said was the breeding. This is where they were going to breed the master race.
Right. And then also a hop, skip, and a jump from Epstein himself are the people who were involved with 23andMe, which is the genetic testing company, and also the dating app cartel. And so you have, a pretty tight group of businessmen who are deeply interested. Well, you have on one side, they're gathering all this genetic data. They own a dating app cartel, which decides, gives you the power to determine who gets to couple with whom.
Right.
And behind that is Jeffrey Epstein, who's deeply interested in eugenics. And that's really quite sinister. I mean, you look at the number of people in America who meet their partners on one of the dating apps that are part of the Match.com cartel. And it's very significant. I think it's up to like a third now. And then 23andMe, they had that hack, but they're gathering. Oh, go ahead.
No, because you just said something. So, are you saying that there's a bit of an evidence trail here, that the people that are meeting other people on Match.com and others, that there is some monkeying around with the algorithm to put certain people with other certain people for some pre-stated nefarious purpose by these Epstein types?
I'm saying that there's a way that you could do that.
Okay. On the cartel app, is that what they were doing on the cartel app?
So what I'm saying is that most of the big ones are owned by the same company. So like Tinder, Hinge, Match.com, some of these others, it's the same company.
I didn't know that.
And they so they have the power to determine a very large number of kind of the couplings of American citizens. And all you'd have to do is kind of like tweak the algorithm a little bit, and all of you can either match someone with someone else or cut somebody out. And you're basically giving the power of like
this is eugenics. This is digital eugenics.
Yes, that's what it is.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and so if you look at there's this very sinister photo that I tweeted of a 23andMe swab party, and there's Sergey Brin, who was close to Epstein, former Google guy.
Okay.
There's one of the Wojcicki people. There's Barry Diller and his wife. Barry Diller is the former owner of Match.com. And its attendant other companies that run this dating app cartel.
Was it Diller also? It wasn't CBS. He owned a TV network, didn't he? Which is one of the.
He owned the Daily Beast, I think, for a while, and then he was involved in Fox.
Okay, Fox.
And then Rupert Murdoch was also in that photo. So you have all these people that are involved. They're a hop, skip, and a jump from Epstein, getting their cheeks swabbed for 23andMe. And the owner of the dating app cartel is there. If I were, there's, I think just in the interest of like privacy and prudence, when we get into these questions of like who, who's coupling with whom, the state should be somewhat reticent to do that. On the other hand, when you have this group of people that are making decisions that affect tens of millions of people about this stuff, it's at what point does that rise to a matter of national security?
So I'm looking on your X, and I'm trying to find the 23andMe swab party because I'm curious now. I guess I have to scroll down a little bit. With J. Arthur Bloom here of Arthur Oriana. You also
that one may not be on my blog. But I can send it to you though. I've tweeted it.
Okay. No, I'm looking on X. That's where I'm at, is on X. But one of the things that in your piece, You have a picture of Epstein with Noam Chomsky.
Yes.
Talk about a match made in hell.
Right. Well, so the question is like, and so if we were to come up with like is there something that might have been actually positive from the standpoint of U.S. interests that he was doing with respect to Israel? In general, the left side of Israeli politics is more coterminous with American policy goals in Israel-Palestine. They're more committed to a two-state solution. They're more restrained. They're a little more secular. And it's that side that Epstein seems to have been involved with, to the extent that he was giving to Zionist philanthropy. It was pretty mainstream. It was the Friends of the IDF. It was the Jewish National Fund. But the question is, if you were to make the case that he was actually working for the U.S. to further policy goals with respect to Israel, what we might find is that he's giving to the U.S.-backed NGOs in Israel, but he's not doing that. We might look for him pushing the Obama's Iran deal, but he wasn't doing that. And so I don't really see the evidence that Epstein was working in a way which was harmonious with American policy goals. And furthermore, some of them, some of the things that he was doing in business are actively hostile to the liberties of Americans, or at a minimum neutral. For instance, the arms deal that he brokered with Mongolia, between Israel and Mongolia, with the help of Ehud Barak, and then also his interest in buying all of this offensive spyware. And that's the one that's actually harmful. And Israel's, of course, the spyware king of the world.
And most people don't know that. And when you say that, they make the software.
Yeah.
Which, Americans just completely blew this Nancy Guthrie incredible discovery of these video images now that Cash Patel and the FBI and Google and the heroes at Google. I did the story the day after it came out, and I went, okay, well, it is heroic, and I hope they find the lady, but y'all are missing a point. There's a creep factor here. There's creepy AF. How in the hell? So if I put one of these monstrosities on my door and I don't activate it, you still get video of me? That's like surveillance state Big Brother 1984 crap on steroids. That's what was revealed. To me, that is completely shocking. Now, another thing that is, I think, that is coming out of all this, and then, I had Matthew Crawford, 1T, not 2, Matthew Crawford on this show in May of 2024, and Matthew and I talked about a bunch of stuff, and then the subject of Stephen K. Bannon came up. And Crawford went, oh, hey, wait a minute. Because he does this thing where he connects the dots of all these people. It's quite genius, this thing that he's created. And he goes, like, interestingly enough, if we put Steve Bannon's name in here, and he pulled it up, and he goes, look at all these connections, and including there was one direct line to Epstein. And I went like, I didn't know that. And he went, oh, this Bannon guy is connected to, there's a lot of people here that you would want to know about Bannon being connected to. Now, of course, my dealings with Bannon should be coming out now, should be very public. The reason I'm still not at Sirius XM, where I wasn't for a period of more years, is because of him. And again, like I told the fake journalist, Ian Miles Chong, if you really wanted to write a story, then you would have contacted me. Because you left the whole story out about how Trump found him. Trump found him. Go ask Trump. Trump found him on Sirius XM on the Mike Church Show slot. That's where he found him at. Which
I
Bannon,
didn't know that.
No, which Bannon manipulated to get him. He was my fill-in guy for 6 years. Fill-in. That host, fill-in. In any event, it's coming out now, and you got Elon, now you have Roger Stone, and you have others going like, this Bannon guy. Roger Stone retweeting that Trump called him, what did he call him, Maggie? Sloppy Steve? He called him Sloppy Steve.
Right. And Bannon's in real trouble. Because he's been rumored to be considering a 2028 run as a spoiler.
We are aware of that.
Yeah. And I don't know how he's going to be able to pull that off after the Epstein stuff. I mean, it's too sinister. The interview with him didn't go well, and he also has this record of just throwing people under the bus that's very unseemly. Yeah, of a populist, and so I just don't think that's going to work. And he has this funny, and I find rather insincere way of talking about the Israel issue, which is to pull the Zionist Organization of America very close and make them into his best friend, and then do all these hit pieces all over Breitbart on behalf of the Israelis, while airing his criticisms in a limited way far too late. And that just doesn't really get very much credit with me.
It shouldn't get any credit with you. Let me tell you something else that this guy is doing. This guy is like he's the kingmaker behind the scenes apparently for conservative media. Like,
right.
We have been booking interviews with people for like the last 5 or 6 years, or Magdalene has been booking it for me, and then we'll schedule whoever to come in here, and just like you, and day of, sorry, I can't make it. Sorry, double booked or whatever. Well, as we got closer to going to a Turning Point USA venue, one person slipped. And Magdalene's like, you said you were going to do it. Why? And she said, the booker said, we can't cross Steve Bannon. Mike's on the list. You can't, so we can't do the interview. I'm sorry. And I'm like, I'm on a list. Now it all makes sense. How did Mike get on a list? Well, go figure that one out for yourself. So this guy has been trying to ruin my broadcast career and keep me out of places where maybe I would have been invited. A lot of people are going to go like, well, who's this dude here? He's pretty entertaining and interesting of a host. Maybe we could give him a go. So now, who and why? I don't know. But I think that the mask has been taken off of the guy. And I think a lot of people are saying that, you people you're all for this purism in politics. The only people that can remain anywhere near the purity that you claim that you want, America, are people like Arthur and me that remain independent. If you get in bed anywhere near them, they will control you. They will manipulate you. And if you don't get manipulated, they will cancel you. And that's just the way it works.
That's true. And the other piece that I think it's a shoe that could drop about Bannon is whether he himself was an FBI informant also.
Oh.
That he manages to get out of some of the investigations and into some of the stuff he was doing. And then also he famously was disappointed by the firing of James Comey. And so that strikes me as a little bit unusual from his perspective.
One more thing. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Well, I just wanted to say that the way where he can kind of continue on the story arc he's on as like his populist, bit, the populist Seinfeld royalties recipient, is to do what Charles Johnson did and out himself as an informant. And say, basically, I was informing on Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's maybe the one move he's got left.
And interesting, now, if he takes it, then you heard it here first, or you read it on his blog. Quickly, before you go, I want to talk just a little bit about Carrie Prejean Bowler and this religious freedom commission that Trump began. The piece that I see most forwarded around and reposted or whatever is the one with her in the argument with the rabbi. Now, that is not from recently. That's last year. That's an older meeting that they had, because we looked it up. Now, oh, it was recent. You told me it was last year.
It was the other one I was listening to.
Okay, well, there's two. There was a commission meeting last year. Okay. Well, the question is now being asked in this Commission on Religious Liberty. Well, so I guess what, Catholics or devout Catholics can't be on this commission here. And again, this is no surprise, Catholics. You should absolutely expect this, even from Trump. People that are devout about Catholicism cannot be Zionists. because that's against the faith. It's contra. You can't. Not in the manner in which they say Zionism, okay? So maybe in one definition you could be, oh, I'm all for Israel becoming a state. Who's opposed to that? I'm not. Never have been. But the new Israel is the Catholic Church and the mystical body. That's the new Israel here. And people like Mike Huckabee running around saying that it's not, it doesn't do anything, that doesn't change that. And I really don't think at the end of the day, outside, and this is where it gets into the, you get the whole seamy, dark underbelly side of this. I don't think outside of the geopolitical discussion about Israel being at the UN, it being a recognized geographic state, all of these things, people don't have an opposition to this, but it is this brand of Judaism that they say, connects them all. As good priests have pointed out to me, Mike, there's no promise of salvation and there are no sacraments. So what is it? Well, it's a cult at the end of the day. And this is what too many Christian brothers and sisters are signing on to. Like, dude, you're enrolling in a cult. And if it's not Christ, then it's demons. It's bad. So I don't want you to be in the cult. So that's why I don't want you to be a Zionist. It doesn't have anything to do with the existence of Jews or Judaism. As a matter of fact, somebody that carries one of these around all day long and prays it every day. I'm with the Jewess every day. Her husband was Saint Joseph from the house of David. This is not about Jews and Jews. And if you wanted to really say Semites, well, the Arabs are Semites too. They're descendants of Shem. So, and that's another thing. Well, this is anti-Semitic. Is it anti your practice of Judaism? Or is it I am against the descendants of Shem? I am not against this, unless they're Islamics or Spiritist or whatever. So your piece about Zionism, the Opus Dei perspective on Zionism is wrong and harmful. Can you just give me a couple of minutes on why it's wrong and harmful?
Sure. I think what we kind of need to talk about is, we have a situation where the United States is, I think, I agree with everything you're saying, but I think we need to talk about Israel as a non-religious question. And there are plenty of concepts from Catholic statecraft which are not themselves religious. And one of them, I mean, the basic, concept here is that America is the patron and Israel is the client.
Right.
And America has the right to, within limits, dictate terms to Israel. And I think a lot of this discussion about Zionism, we make it into like a question of emotional affiliation, or we make it into a question of theology when it isn't. There is nothing in the Catechism that forbids the president from saying this slaughter's gone on long enough. You need to cut it out.
Absolutely.
And if they're unwilling to do that, then taking measures to make them stop. There is nothing in the Catholic religion that would forbid that. And so I think a lot of these people, be them sort of conservative influencers or, some of these like natural law Princeton Opus Dei guys, they want to make it about philosophy. It's not about philosophy. It's about telling them, it's about using the power the United States has to act to actually restore a right relationship between the United States and Israel.
Okay.
And there are all these aspects to that. I mean, Israel is turning itself into a pariah, and even for the good of Jews, that's bad. The way their politics are going is putting them on the brink of civil war. There are things that, from the standpoint of international law, should be investigated, and we're probably the only party that has the ability to.
Probably.
And even from the standpoint of the church, it's true that the Vatican recognizes the state of Israel. There are diplomatic relations. When people say, "Well, do you believe Israel has a right to exist?" If you don't believe Israel has a right to exist, you're an anti-Zionist and therefore an anti-Semite. that's not really the question at hand here. This is like an abstract thing which we don't apply to any other country. The Vatican recognizes the state of Israel diplomatically. That's not the same thing as recognizing a limitless and unbounded right to exist no matter their behavior. That's not the same thing. And a fundamental agreement has give on both sides. And the fundamental agreement was in 92 or 93. Has Israel kept up their end of the bargain? The answer is no, they have not. The state of Israel has broken faith with the Pope. And one of the things that they've broken faith about is the fundamental agreement implies moving toward a recognition of the property rights of the church in Israeli law. And shortly after that fundamental agreement was put in place, Netanyahu came to power, and he's left this on the table for the 30 years he's been at the top of Israeli public life. He's refused to move this forward, refused to use any of his political capital to secure the rights of the church. That is absolutely the sort of thing that Catholics should object to. And so on the merits, Mrs. Bonaire, Prigine Carey,
Bolaire. Carrie Prigine Bolaire.
Yeah, I think she's right on the merits. There's the question of like appropriateness. Is it right to make a stink? Is it right to are the things that I'm talking about really questions of domestic religious liberty? I don't know. To some extent, they probably are. But I think now's probably the time to make a stink.
Well, I think that your point is crystal clear. People just need, if you would consider what it is that he's saying, pro forma, for the form of what he said, which is you can claim a right to exist, which I said I don't deny that right, but it is not a foolproof one. It is not an all-encompassing, no matter what you do, right. So you could say that, well, I approve of this guy to be my son-in-law, and I bless the marriage here, but then the daughter keeps coming to you with broken noses and blackened eyes, and then a baby's arm is broken. Well, I withdraw my endorsement. It's not unequivocal. The right is not unequivocal. And what I think he's saying, and what I would say, and I'm in agreement, is that you just can't run around and say that, and basically just say this. You somehow have the right to determine that these people called Palestinians don't have a right to, that they don't have a right to exist. When, in fact, if you look at old Bible, if any of these Protestants would go back to their Bibles that have color maps of the Holy Land prior to 1948, you'd see an absolutely amazing thing there. You'd see this place called Palestine. You'd go like, oh, what's that? Well, it's a country and it's a people. So the idea here that somehow there is Hamas is Palestinian. That's, dude. This is a minor logical argument, a syllogism that you can't make work. That because someone is Hamas, then that indicts all of Palestine. There's no syllogism you can make out. That's not logical.
Right. This kind of gets
just like it wasn't logical in 1945 to say, okay, you're a German, then you're a Nazi. No, right. It's possible that you could be a Nazi, but you can't give me that you are. You can't give me a certitude. And in the same way, you can't do the same thing here.
Right, and there's a way in which this points to kind of the fundamental radicalism of the direction Israel is going. That the name of the Roman province in the place that is now Israel was Syria Palestina, and the story of Jewish integration in modernity has to do with integrating Jews into a Christian culture, and to some extent, what's happening in Israel, giving up on all of these old Roman concepts is turning its back on all of that. And that's not turning their back basically on hundreds of years of Jewish integration. And that's not ultimately going to be a good thing for Jews either.
No, I don't think so. And as you point out, the two Catholic blogger, journalist, influencers, whatever you want to call them, Lila Rose and Ryan Anderson, these are almost sound like you signed up to endorse Snapple the iced tea. And they handed you a script and you went, oh, okay, you want me to read this? And how much are you going to put in the bank account? Folks, the whole thing, it stinks. It's getting worse. And you're so right. Why, Captain Peace Negotiator? Okay, well, why don't you negotiate a peace and tell Netanyahu, I'm not backing what you're doing? He came this close to doing it when he said, I'm not happy, and then he said he wasn't effing happy with Netanyahu. Right. And that was never said again. So it is very discouraging if you're a MAGA Trump booster, and I am. I'm a 51% Trump guy, and this is the 49% that drives you nuts. And you go like, why, dude? Why? Break the tie. Because if they have to stand alone, they will stop. Because the rest of the world's already condemned them. Yeah. Our back or barking is what is, and there are injustices, just as you pointed out. You can't say Epstein is a convicted sex trafficker because he never made it to court. There is a justice here that never actually happened because they killed him in the jail cell. So, all right, a great visit with Jay Arthur. Read him at arthuriana@substack.com. Find him on Twitter, the same, or on x.com. I don't know why I keep calling it Twitter. It's not Twitter anymore. Find him on X, J. Arthur Bloom. And we will see you in 2 weeks, brother. Thank you very much.
Sounds good.
Okay. Then that's J. Arthur, of course. And again, find him at Arthuriana. She can call in at Arthuriana. I just think that you just heard stuff that is not supposed to be. Okay, let's go back. Why am I in the position of, on bended knee many times, asking for donations to keep this thing going? As we have pointed out, there are forces that are outside of this building here that work and conspire towards subduing and suppressing us. So when you hear me say, well, there goes Mike again, asking for another $5,000, dude, you have no idea how desperately we all wish around here, especially Maggie and I, that we just fundraise because we have so many people that want to be interns and we're giving scholarships out for the Radio Guild. That's what we really want. What we want is 50,000 paid subscribers. Are there forces that have been conspiring against us to see to it that that doesn't happen? What sounds like the more we learn, and then the more we learn about successful people that don't have to do what we're doing here, kind of puts a point on that, doesn't it? As Jay Arthur was just pointing out about Lila Rose and Ryan Anderson. So when I ask you to give, dude, I'm asking you to join this effort here. And we don't answer to, we answer to you, basically, our subscribers. But ultimately, we answer to God. Seek me first, the kingdom of God, and all these things in his justice will be added unto me. And that's how we should look at it. And that's how we pursue our journalism and our investigation. And if you read Arthuriana, Jay Arthur is pretty much in a similar position than we are, but read the blog. Now, he and I don't agree. I'd say we're about a 60-40 agreement, disagree. But I never underestimate him or never do not give full credit to his journalism. Because at the end of the day, he's actually a journalist. As a matter of fact, he's a perfect candidate to join the Radio Guild, the Crusade Radio Guild. As you are a perfect candidate to see to it that it remains here for people like Jay Arthur. So, do you got $10 today? CrusadeChannel.com/donate. Do you have 100? CrusadeChannel.com/donate. You got 1,000? CrusadeChannel.com/donate. All right. Great interview. And I didn't know any of that stuff about Houdini. And that book sounds like a fantastic read. Magdalene Rose, our political affairs contributor, yesterday your girl had her day in Congress, and I thought for the most part Pam Bondi held her own. You still want her gone?
I do, not because I just dislike her as a person. I just don't think that she's vicious enough for this job.
Well, she seemed vicious to defend it yesterday.
I think she is in media, and this is my frustration with her. I think she's a great talking head. I think she's a great ambassador for the Trump administration, but it's been too many months of nothing. Like the Epstein files fallout, where she brought a whole bunch of influencers to the White House, and it was a disaster. I just think that with this many problems and this many attacks on conservatives, I want somebody more vicious in the role.
Well, yesterday there was no love that was said from any of the Democrats toward her. So why would you be holding out? I mean, this is something I just don't understand about any of these people. Ro Khanna is never going to become your buddy. Jasmine Crockett is never going to become your buddy. Fat Jerry Nadler is never going to become your buddy. Jamie Raskin, the dumbest man to ever be elected to any position in the history of Earth, is never going to become your buddy. Pramila Jayapal is never going to be. These people are going to hate you because you don't hate Trump. They're going to hate you because you ostensibly are a MAGA person. And that's all they need to know. And when I say it's not dislike, this is seething hatred because you're exercising power that they desperately want. And again, people ought to be chastened to the point of fear that those of you that are going, well, I'm not voting this time, and it's not going to matter. The Democrats get in there and do that. Dude, you have no idea of the horror that will be unleashed if Mike Johnson is not Speaker of the House 1 year from now. It'll happen within the first, when they're sworn in on January the 6th or whatever, I think it's January the 6th. When they're sworn in, the impeachment resolution will be filed on January the 7th. And we get to go through 2019 and 2020 all over again. And if you think nothing's getting done now, well, let me tell you, brother, everything will come to a screeching halt. The Democrats will have the power of the purse, and anything that Trump accomplished in years 1 and 2 right now is going to either be repealed or it's going to be targeted for repeal, or they just won't fund it. And that's what's going to happen.
And I don't think people realize the strength of Speaker Johnson. I mean, the lunatic brigade that he keeps together and the bullying that he has to do. And this is not somebody who, courted this position. We went through all those rounds when Matt Gaetz ousted McCarthy. This was not somebody in the first, second, or even given 10th round. It went on, and he was seen as somebody who, first of all, had no scandals, which I think is probably true, but also was actually a conservative. Even if we got rid of him, can you imagine having a lightweight social conservative in that role? It'd be a disaster. It'd be a complete nightmare. We needed a social conservative in that role to make sure that whenever we have anything that's not just a lightweight conservative bill, it actually gets through.
And just staying on the same subject here, I just don't, and this is conservative founding fathers admirer, American history admirer, Mike speaking. I just don't understand what is the utility in the Democrat Party of having people like Maggie. Just you don't need to play the whole thing. Just 30 seconds of number 7. What is the purpose of this? First of all, the only thing the American people are going to get that aren't on X, which is almost everyone, that's 4/5 of the population is not on X. 4/5. The other 4/5, where are they getting their news? Well, a couple thousand of them from me. Okay, that leaves the other 4/5. Where are they getting their news? If they're getting it, CBS, ABC, NBC. By the way, many of them just let their iPhone bleep them in the morning and go like, oh, Apple News has it for me. Until it's recently revealed here that Apple News has basically been quietly silencing any conservative or right-leaning voices and elevating left-wing leftards here. So, here, a little bit of this. What is the purpose of this?
This is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed.
Stop the tape. This is fine. I'm not going to say it's fine. This would be acceptable because I don't have to watch it outside of a congressional hearing when they used to have special orders at night and only C-SPAN junkies could watch Anthony Weiner do that. Anthony Weiner could not do that in a hearing because Nancy Pelosi wouldn't let him. Now, Hakeem Jeffries apparently is there. Kill them all. Say whatever you want. Go after their children in these hearings. This isn't debate or discourse here. This is just pure demagoguery. You have power. We want it back so we can kill you, and we're going to do everything that we can to take it.
Well, that's true. That is what it is. And I think that Democrats have to realize these moments are also not going as viral as they'd like. Like, we see them because we're in politics, but they're not going crazy viral. People are not spending a lot of time analyzing them. It's just not that interesting. So if your position going into midterms is, I'm going to cut things up in Congress, I'm going to harp on Republicans who come to testify, go ahead, do it. It's not going to help you with fundraising.
Well, I don't even know that they care that it's going to help with fundraising, even though that's really the only language that they speak. It seems to me that they are doing that they're doing these things, that there must be someone somewhere that's watching this with a wink and a nod going like, yeah, that's my team. That's my girl. That's exactly what you should do. Thank you so much. That this is, I guess, a crowd pleaser, if you will. I just don't know who the client and the crowd is that they're pleasing. I think all of this is politically stupid. The SAVE Act is actually 71% of Democrats are for it.
6% of Democrats.
How much?
76.
76% of Democrats say we ought to have photo ID. 83% of Hispanics that identify as Democrats say yes. 73% of blacks that identify as Democrats say yes, we ought to have photo ID. Their own polling says that this is political suicide and stupid. And yet they're going to be on the record hysterically opposing this? That's just dumb.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is. It's ridiculous. I think the Democrat Party is suffering from a leadership issue. I've seen commentary on that. There's been reporting of that. There's no central leader. Like, the Clintons are kind of out. I think it's over. Obama doesn't seem that interested in leading. He seems interested in the Obamas, but that's very typical, because if you think back to the races when Obama was president, a common complaint amongst DNC officials was that Obama was terrible with down-ballot races, and he was not helpful, and he didn't pull people up. So they don't really have a leader, and I think what Democrats are doing is they're trying to audition for that. I think a lot of the shocking things they say is an audition to be a leader.
No. If that's your audition tape, this is how you're going to lead. Okay, time out. You can say we can badmouth, and we should, and we will continue to. Nancy Weinbach's Nancy Pelosi. Okay.
She got crap done, though.
She got crap done, true. We have played videotape and sound bites of Nancy Pelosi in the House of Representatives in 1996, opposing China's most favored nation status against Bill Clinton. In 2004, 2005, and 2006, she actually was against the DREAM Act kind of stuff, and she was against amnesty and these things. She almost conducted herself with a certain kind of decorum. But she was never hysterical. And so when they won the House back in 2006, as our song Democrat Somewhere predicted, by the way, right again, as they won the House back, and they had a genuine race to be Speaker of the House, she won it. And I think that she won it on the merits of the fact that, look at what she got done. And number two, she wasn't hysterical. Now, the longer she had the gavel and the older she got, the more batshit crazy she became and the more hysterical that she was become. But she didn't get it because she was hysterical. All of them are trying to get it because they're more hysterical than the guy that just spoke on the floor or in a committee. I just think it's silly. I think it's stupid. I think as a party, if you're looking at this going like, why the hell do I want to be a member of this?
Well, I think a lot of people who are voters think that. I mean, if you are a Democrat voter right now, I genuinely don't know what you would say your top 3 issues from the party are. Probably immigration and stopping ICE. But also in 2018, Nancy Pelosi led a successful House midterms because she had a comprehensive plan to make health care their calling card. And everything in that race was about health care. I remember that, and it was overwhelming, and Republicans had no objection. We had no objection to it. We had no way to win it.
You also had
and she was
Paul
very
Ryan.
Successful in that. Yes. And it was just a very sad drip in 2018. I think Democrats have no leader. I think they have no topic. I'm not afraid of their messaging because I don't think there is any message.
Nope. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to be a messenger if you don't have a message. And your message is here, we have these hysterical broads here that are going to go in your district and campaign for you hysterically. You really think you're going to win hearts and minds of swing voters over because Jasmine Crockett or Alexandria Ocasio-Pinko Kami Cortez came and yelled and screeched? I mean, most people hear that and they go like, oh, God, especially most men hear that, oh, God, imagine being married to that. Imagine having to endure this in a household. No, make it stop. There's a complete and absolute, if there is any guy out there that's on the fence and he actually has testosterone as a guy, he can't do any of that. He hears that and he goes, nope, walking away, can't do it, bye.
Well, and that's why the gender divide keeps widening, because men don't want to do it, because it's not something they want to contribute to. It's like when they say they're going to run Kamala Harris again. I think to myself, oh, please do it. Please do it. Let's do it. I will be the one election I'm not stressed about. Let's run Kamala Harris again. Because the level in which she lost white men in the voting bloc in America, I mean, it was fantastic. So run another annoying woman who has no real accomplishments. And this is frustrating for me because there are women in politics who have accomplishments. There are Republican women who can do great things. But Democrats, they pick losers. And they keep running them. And then they keep telling us they're geniuses. And it's just very
They're
annoying.
not geniuses. Magdalene Rose, our political affairs contributor, on our Dude Maker hotline here. Let's talk about a sad thing. Eternal rest grant unto him, O God. Perpetual light shine upon him. May he rest in peace. One of the good guys, rare good guys in Hollywood, James Van Der Beek, died yesterday of colon cancer. He had a wife. He had 6 children. Wasn't the party type. Doesn't come up in any of the crazy stuff that you think. But died at a very young age of 48.
Yes. Well, I think it's interesting how he had said that he was auctioning off Dawson's Creek and there's, I think, Varsity Blue memorabilia, both shows and movies he was in. And he had talked about the financial struggles. And it was very clear that no one in Hollywood was stepping up to help him. Like, this is somebody who'd been doing this since he was, 13 years old. So, this is not a new person in Hollywood. All these connections, and nobody really stepped up. Like, he said that they were very concerned about losing the house. He's surrounded by people he knows well who are of vast wealth. And now after he's passed, there's a GoFundMe and all these things. I just find it very odd that if you know somebody who's struggling and you have the means, and we're talking about many people who knew him in that realm, you couldn't try to help him. You couldn't try to help his family. I'm a little frustrated by that because they were saying his wife is concerned about losing the house. She obviously hasn't worked in quite a while because she's been his primary care. They have 6 young children. Like, where was Hollywood then?
Well, nowhere. They were out chasing ICE agents down the street.
Mm-hmm.
James Van Der Beek's dying, got 6 bebe kids, or she got 6 beautiful children, got a wife, about to lose his house, and what is the evil people in Hollywood's response? Oh, yeah, sorry, James, you should have gotten better royalties from Dawson's Creek. And again, it's just another one of the indications. If you're not with these people, the bad people, as George Carlin said, if you're not sitting at the table with them, you're on the menu. And apparently, James Van Der Beek, God rest his soul, was on the menu. Finally, here today, This is hysterical. Okay, so they had this new book out. I'm going to get this book for the store. The Last Men, Liberalism and the Death of Masculinity. This is what liberalism, 100 years, or liberalism has done. And also the kind of liberalism that brought actual science to an end. They, as RFK Jr. was pointing out the other day, there is no reason why we don't actually have a very successful, good treatment for Alzheimer's. Why don't we? Because the Democrats and the usual suspects and the stupid party sided with the big pharma, big money that let's throw all of our money, all of it, and all of our research and all of our alleged science into one methodology. This is the only way that we're ever going to cure Alzheimer's. And of course, there is no cure. There's not even a treatment for it. And RFK Jr. was saying that, well, you know, that's all come to an end, and we're going to bring that to an end. And we are going to find a cure for Alzheimer's. Fast forward to the book, The Last Men, Liberalism and the Death of Masculinity. You know, I was laughing as I read this paragraph. It's a review by August Mayrot at the Federalist, the book. And he says, to kick off this discussion, the guy, Cornish Dale, cites Alex Jones, who rose to infamy by declaring,
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs.
Guy begins his book about the end of testosterone and what to do about it, spermageddon, as he calls it, with Jones. And sure enough, herbicides like atrazine have been proven to poison the endocrine system of clawed frogs, turning them gay or trans, yet are still in use in many modern farms. Even though the paid hacks for these massive agricultural companies will swear this has no negative impact on humans. There is plenty of evidence to show that these kind of chemicals pose major hazards to people's health, causing an array of reproductive and mental disorders for both men and women. Along with these toxins are microplastics, which are everywhere. Primarily, microplastics act as vehicles for harmful endocrine disrupting chemicals, carrying them deep into our bodies. But they are also dangerous themselves, since they have been shown to literally suck up hormones and other important substances in the blood, including, drumroll please, testosterone, making these unavailable to the body for use. With these factors in mind, Cornishdale takes the argument one step further by linking the spread of endocrine disruptors to the rise of transgenderism. 2 days ago, RFK Jr., when he did that little talk there, when he came out about the Alzheimer's, that is exactly, Magdalene, we had the soundbite, exactly the terminology that he used. Endocrine disruptors. And that, working with the president, working with the regulatory agencies, you have to bring this stuff to an end. God knows how many decades it takes for it through atrophy or chemical or physical atrophy to get out of the system, so it's not poisoning us anymore. In light of that, in the light of spermageddon, as he calls it, you know that RFK Jr. may be the most significant thing, the most consequential of all of Trump's appointments, and the most significant thing that Donald Trump may do in his second term may be through RFK Jr. and HHS. Chew on that one for a little while.
Well, I think that's true, and I think that's why he had to go with him. Like, who else would he have picked that would take such extreme action? There was nobody else. He, I think, in large part won in 2024 because of Elon's endorsement and because of RFK Jr. Because RFK Jr. brought the Maha moms. He actually brought somebody. We constantly hear in politics who's going to bring somebody to the coalition, who's going to deliver. And rarely does anybody actually do that. But he had a group to bring. He delivered it. He was successful in it, and now he's doing his job in it. I think RFK Jr. is the political investment, one of them that's paid off the most for Donald Trump in the entirety of his political career.
No, I agree. And the big knockers, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done it. Dude, you are working against $1 trillion industries. that have been profiting by the tens and hundreds of billions for decades now. I cannot imagine the pressure that's being brought to bear against him. By the way, Magdalene, if you weren't working here for us in the Crusade Radio Guild and the Mike Church Show, you know what you'd be doing? You'd be on Fox News right now with the breaking! Now, investigators set up tent at Guthrie's house. I literally read that out the mouth of Dana Perino and the Chiron on Fox News. This is now ridiculous. This is beyond. It's this is Nancy Grace now. What was the Nancy Grace becomes Nancy Grace because a little girl gets murdered, abducted and then murdered. JonBenet Ramsey. They were camped out on the Ramsey's house too. These people don't care about Nancy Guthrie. Poor Savannah and that family. They don't care about your mother. They care about look at all the people that are tuning into our live coverage. It is preposterous that this is that it's happening the way it's happening. And as I reminded the audience this morning, this is what they did to you during COVID. They went 15-minute news cycle. All the news is surrounding Savannah Guthrie. It's the greatest thing to the human race that ever happened, that Kash Patel conspired with Google to obtain video footage that they never should have had. That never should have left that woman's house. That's the story. You think Fox News is going to cover? They didn't even cover that angle. We did.
No.
Jordan Boyd did it, the Federalist. A couple of other people did. That's the angle, not a sniff.
No, and they're not going to. I think Savannah Guthrie, I think it's very sad. It's not the most important story in the world. And, we can say that and still hope and pray that her mother is okay and justice is done. But it's not the most important story in America, even in America. So I get why they're covering it. I just don't think people also care on the same level. It sounds bad, but a lot of people are like, well, obviously it's gangs or someone took her. It's not. I don't think this has become as crazy important as people originally thought it would be.
It's a human interest story at the end of the day. Right now, they're just manufacturing news. Investigators set up tent at Guthrie's house. If a pack of Boy Scouts set one up in the backyard for a bivouac, would that be news? I mean, yes.
And doing Mom Murders and Mysteries, I think this is also just to add to the watchable factor, the what comes next, because everyone that does any type of crime or unsolved mysteries, you know what the blue tent means. Typically, the blue tent means they're doing human remains and they want to keep, the public eyes out of it. But that's not what this is. It can't be, because that's right next to the house. You mean to tell me it's been 12 days and the woman's been dead in the house the whole time? It can't be that. So
they're doing
this to me is just to feed the news cycle again.
They're
to make
doing
it more interesting.
Yeah. Why would you be conducting forensics if you are? That tent is connected to one of the rear doors, I guess, or side doors of the house. So if you're going to do a real forensic, it's not going to be done there in that stupid blue tent. It's going to be done in a lab somewhere, and you're going to take it out, and you're going to try to secure it and seal it, and you're going to do it off-site. So, again, it's not that we don't care. It's just that we don't care that much. And the cable news doing what cable news does, which is not news. At this point, they're manufacturing news. Finally, appears that Blake Lively and Baldoni are actually going to go to trial. I thought they had settled this out of court.
No, they're going to trial. And I will say this. Justin Baldoni went into that courtroom with his wife, looking supported and like a team, right? Blake Lively went in alone, dressed in some very strange 2000s Gossip Girl, lawyer court suit. And it was just not a good look. And Baldoni came out looking like, yep, we're on track. It's going to be fine. Why Blake Lively would go to this thing alone when her entire accusation is that Baldoni harasses women and is horrible and all these things, I will never understand.
Another one that, thanks to us, you're not having to cover. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow for Free Phone Friday, Magdalene. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, Free Phone Friday tomorrow. This will end the free preview on YouTube. And I guess we picked the wrong day to do a free preview because usually there are a lot more people that watch the free live preview on YouTube. For those of you that did, though, God bless you. Thank you. We know that you have a choice, and so do all you Crusaders and what you listen to and watch every day, and you chose us. Thank you. Thank you for supporting us, for your donations, and for your continued support. Shop in the store. Make a donation. Shop.mikechurch.com. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. Show up tonight for Thursday Night Throwdown. And hang out in the chat room. Talk video games. Greatest video games ever. That is not limited to arcade or computer. It's pretty much if it moves and it's electronic and it's a game, we can pretty much talk about it. So hope to have a lively, great panel tonight for that. 6 Central, 7 Eastern. If you're listening on the Crusade channel, right here on the Crusade channel and at CrusadeChannel.com. It'll also be simulcast on YouTube, on youtube.com/@RealKingDude. If you enjoy today's program, sign up for 1 month free, literally free. Don't cost nothing to the Founders Pass membership service, and you can catch all of tomorrow's show, and for 1 entire month for free. Don't cost nothing. The link is in the description of the show on YouTube, and so is the coupon code JBOY1, which gets you 1 month of $5 streaming for this much money.
0.0.
You don't have to commit to anything. You're going to put a credit card up, nothing. Just use the coupon code. You're in and you're out, and you're a member for 30 days. And you can find that at mikechurch.com/join. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you tomorrow for Free Phone Friday. If news breaks out today, we will break in. Holy Seven Servites, pray for us. And as always, folks, God bless you and Mary keep you.
On his side. The liberals can run, but they'll never hide. He's a friend of Mr. Madison as he fights all leftisms. He supports our troops over there, stands up to the kooks from Cannes. He's the KingDude of the nation of doom. Red, white, and doom nation.